Good afternoon, good morning, good evening, everybody. Thanks a lot for joining us. I'm not too sold on that, Harry boy. I think we definitely need to get... So we're on the different system today. We might, who knows, might even have some gate crashers on the stream today. But as usual, for the deadline stream, we're at Gameweek 369. I'm Quinny, and joined with me this week is Harry Trades. Harry, my man, good to see you.
Lovely to see you, my man. Different little operating system for once. Hopefully the technical difficulties that we have most weeks now are going to be, nil and void for once.
A thing of the past for sure. We've got a bunch of Sorare scouts and legends, scouts, managers, and legends from around the world joining us live and loud. I think we're only on Twitch and YouTube today, so thanks very much to everyone that's joining us. I can see all the chats coming in from everyone. I see TSI Bullet on Twitch. I see Ricky Lomas on YouTube, and lots of other legends. Fistbumps to everyone. SR Monkey, I see you. Edit Ways, Ian Sorare, Charlie Dunbar, Scott Marshall, legends. Harry boy, we're coming into, this kind of home stretch of the season. There's been some big headlines that we'll get to in the show as we're going through that, as well as predicted 11s, as well as probably there's going to be a lot of Sorare strategy going into where you're playing your teams this week, with a lot of different things that we'll get into as well, with the matchup rankings and all the other stuff that we come to expect at the deadline stream, Harry boy. So all the latest and greatest of intel that we all need and we all desire right before the deadline, just to give us those last minute headaches that we thought were gone, but they're not. I guess while we're waiting for everyone else to show up, Harry boy, how are you feeling coming into this weekend? Did you have much? Was it Mr. Midweek again? What you've been up to? What you getting on it?
Yeah, so I was just telling you off air that I had a couple big super races out last week, or this week, sorry, but early before the deadline on Tuesday. Which meant that I needed, basically, I sold my Tanny Super Rare, which was my only midweek goalkeeper. I ended up bringing in a rare goalkeeper for that midweek. And it wasn't Mr. Midweek this week, unfortunately. I finished on 292 points, 27 points away from a reward. No clean sheet for my keeper. Pedro, it was crazy, actually. I don't know if you've seen the Barcelona highlights, but Balde has put the ball on the 6-yard box for Pedri, basically an open goal. And he's sliced it wide. He's opened his body up too far and it's gone wide. That would have been a double decisive. I had Pedri captain and Balde super rare in that lineup, which would have been great. And then Bock actually got a really good win away to Colo Colo, I think. I had Varela super, didn't really do much, but I did bring in Vasquez. Luis Vasquez, the young sort of, he's basically Bendieto's number 2 up front, but he played because Bendieto is suspended. He actually got an assist, to be fair, as well as 2 big chances missed, but we won't mention that. But I paid like 40 quid for him, to be fair, so he's not much of an outgoing in that sense. But just shy, 27 points away from a tier 3, which is disappointing. But this weekend going forward, I've only got 2 playing goalkeepers, Quinny. So I'm only 2 rare. Obviously, I've got no playing super rare goalkeeper now for the summer right now because of Tanny has obviously departed. The Korean goalkeeper that I brought in is playing next midweek, so I'm left with Costa and Chris Brady this week. So I'm probably going to go into 23 rare pro and rare, and then maybe play a 4-man stack in cap 240 rare. I don't know. I need to maybe ask the chat a bit later on. I haven't submitted my lineups yet. I know I'm running a risk there, but they're in Sorare data. I just haven't popped them into Sorare yet. But no, I can't say I'm not buzzing for the weekend, but I've not got as much going on as I normally do from a personal standpoint. But what about you? How are you looking?
Well, with Celtic being back, obviously it's kind of all hands to the pump battle stations again, but no La Liga, because La Liga was all midweek, and I've managed to pull in a wee bit of freshie. And unfortunately, for any of you that were following it, I suppose we could maybe just do this as part of the kind of the appetizer of the show, as it were. But I am, where is the tab? Sure, this one. There we go. Still figuring all the toys out. But Jan Kuto come off the bench and get 13 points and absolutely, kicked me right in the balls. We were just, look at that, 26 points off of a tier 3 super. From coming off the bench, obviously I still wouldn't have got there in the end ultimately, but it would have been much closer to it. We're getting the ETH, which is the main thing. But I did have an alternative that I didn't play, and it was a super rare that I brought in actually not that long ago. And he is part of the Getafe Mafia that I've got going on at my team. And it was this guy here. Didn't actually play that good, but he played the game in centre mid or right wing or something. But he got a 35. That would have been enough if I'd played him,
Yeah.
So gutted, man, because that's just never fun to just miss out on something even a little bit halfway decent. Also, I had high hopes because it didn't need to do much. It could have got a decisive, and how many points were we still off the top? 58 plus 13, 70. Yeah, so a decisive with a little bit of AA off of winning the thing, So there's no La Liga this weekend, and I think La Liga have another midweek off the back of that as a result. So I think maybe I'll have a wee peek into the future. No, we don't normally do that at this stage, but let's have a wee peek. Saved lineups, game week 370.
370 is the Champions League week, if that makes sense.
Is it?
Yeah.
Okay. Fair enough then.
But they do have one. I think maybe 72.
Maybe, yeah. There's America. I've already done one. Yeah, no, that's America. And then some Europe or something. But yeah, I think they do have another midweek somewhere. Yeah, there it's there. 374. So that one will come back, and that's with a Celtic team as well. So I've got Celtic La Liga in a midweek to look forward to in a few weeks as well. So yeah, so anyway, the moral of that story is no La Liga for this weekend. So there'll be no La Liga draft. There's no Barca Real teams to come and interfere into the prize pool. There's 47 heroes, Sorare scouts and managers and legends from around the world join us already, Harry. If you are here at this point in the stream, please do drop a like, because you guys are the faithful. You guys are the legends that are here every week, bang on time, and I know you guys are big fans of the show and love to support me and Harry. And if you could do so, obviously, if you haven't already, please subscribe to both channels. But while we're here, drop a like on the stream, obviously, and increase your own pack luck, because we know that's the way it works in Sorare Land. They own and control the internet, and every time you like a stream, it just helps your pack luck that little bit more. So yeah, Arnie's uncle, hello, 2 weeks, finished second in Prem Amateur. Got a Bruno, thanks to listening to your video. Thanks, mate. Amber's uncle, thanks very much. I'm pretty sure Amber's has been enjoying the deadline streams, because we go through, Harry, for anyone that's new here, maybe you're watching this after we've been live, maybe you're just catching this on Rewind or something, I don't know. But what happens here every week, Harry, is we go into Sorare data and we want to see where all the big fish are. We want to find out where the power players are, and then can we take advantage of that? Are we going to hide from it? And then we can kind of work out what we're doing, So I think we're pretty much at that point. Well, we go and have a look at the biggest games that we've got on the horizon for the weekend, because with there being no La Liga, Real Madrid are, quite a well-stacked team. But outside of that, I don't know how much that really interferes with the balance of power, as it were. It's not a big hitting league in that respect. But I might be mistaken. There might be another absentee somewhere else. But let's throw it out on screen. Let's see what we've got, Harry boy.
Yeah, I've got the matchup screen here, and this is the first time I've actually looked at this, honestly, this week, Quinny, which is probably tells you how much I've paid attention to this weekend. Sorry, in terms of matchups, but it doesn't really come into play too much for my under 23 gallery. But in terms of everyone else who focuses on regions and all stars and whatever, it's an interesting look. Like I don't know. I mean, Man City at the top is makes sense. They're at home to Leeds, right? But like, I'm seeing quite a few away fixtures in there, and that's something that we don't normally see, Quinny, is it? And let's say, like, what's that, the top 7 there? There's 4 away fixtures. Don't get me wrong, they're playing lesser teams. Your Celtics are playing your Hearts, and PSG are playing Troyes and Excelsior for final and stuff. But, like, I'm not really a big advocate of away fixtures, personally. I don't know whether you kind of don't mind them more than I do, but I don't know. I just feel like that just wasn't the top 7 that I was, thinking that I would see, if that makes sense.
Yeah, well, it's kind of funny. I think in the smaller countries, it definitely doesn't. I don't think it makes as much of a difference, because Celtic, for example, like the away support is like it's proper. They fill out their section, and because it's a tiny stadium, it's just amplified. So I think your Feyenoord will probably benefit from that kind of thing. Bayern probably get a little bit of that, I guess. I don't know, but I can't really comment on that, to be quite frank. But I think so. In PSG, their fans now are obviously very passionate about what's going on, but I don't know if that's for better or for worse. So maybe that being an away fixture might actually be a good thing for PSG, because, like, how many away fans will they maybe take to that game, and maybe just it not being at the Parc de France and having all of them, raining down hell on the board or whatever they're going to do, might be a good thing for them, So hard to read. Normally, I do prefer home games, as you know. So that Man City game sticks out like a sore thumb. Leeds. And, I don't know if this is maybe something, right? But I've got mad respect. Like, I don't know. I don't know what your thoughts on this were, Harry, right? But see when Sam Allardyce comes out and he says, I've got the same knowledge level as Klopp, Guardiola, and Arteta and whatever, right? I've got to say, the big man's due a bit of credit, I think, in his time, it's an easy thing to laugh at, and he's definitely not. He's nowhere near as good as them. But what the guy's saying is he's got knowledge. The guy knows ball, and talking about Man City being at home there, being strong favourites this week, like we would expect Haaland to keep scoring. We'd probably expect De Bruyne to, because it's all about that semi-final, and the game's leading into that. You want that form to be in the ascendancy, but Sam's got form for spoiling the party, and maybe all this laughing and joking at him, maybe that's setting it up for the banana skin. What do you think?
I mean, yeah, I can't really doubt it too much. I mean, it's not the easiest game. I mean, it's arguably, well, it's not even arguably, it's the hardest game to come into, right? As a new manager with 4 or 5 games left of the season, and the first game is away to Man City, right? But I don't know, in terms of how Sam Allardyce is historically set up sides and what they need to do to stay up in leagues and whatever and avoid relegation. I mean, it's going to be a resolute Leeds team, but I don't know, Quinny. I just think this Man City team right now is just unstoppable. They're literally in 6th gear, and they're just it doesn't matter who's in their way right now. It just seems like they're just being able to just clean out anyone, which we've known they're capable of, but they're doing it right now at a level of consistency where, like, I just can't see anything phasing them. Whether that's Big Sam coming into a new job at Leeds, I don't think it matters where they're playing. Obviously, at home is even better for Man City, of course. But I don't know. I think they'll be resolute, and it might not be a couple. It might be 0-0 at halftime. They might have a good first half lead. New buzz, new manager. I can see it, but I think the cream rises to the top at the end of the day. And I just can't see how Man City, even though they have a big game on this midweek, obviously Champions League against Real Madrid. I just can't see how there's going to be an upset here, Quinny, to be honest. Yeah,
it feels like if there was any banana skin, they would just stomp on it. They wouldn't slip on it, kind of thing, because that's just the momentum the team's in now. They feel bulletproof, and, obviously it's all about the Champions League, but, the league is still there to be won. They're still in control of winning the league, and they won't want to give that up now, So, no, I think I make you quite right. We probably expect a lot of goals. If you were to give a score prediction, City at home and Leeds, what do we think?
So I just had a random thought in my head. I did see a tweet, though, Quinny, earlier to say that Edison is not playing this weekend. I don't know how true that is. Obviously, we can go and play sharp and have a look. I think it might be suspended or something, because I saw a cap, like there's like a cap Twitter account, I don't know, and he yeah, no, it was another guy. It wasn't even Ortega, Quinny. I don't even know who the guy was, if I'm being honest. Have a look on Play Sharper for us, because I was quite surprised in it. But, I mean, does that really change anything? No. It doesn't change the 10 outfield players that Man City are going to have. But, Edison is Edison, and, whoever's going to come in to replace him isn't going to be him. And I don't know. Could we see a 3-4-1-er? Probably. I don't know if Man City keep a clean sheet. I think Leeds on a counter maybe. Could be quite dangerous. But, yeah, nothing less than a 3-1 for me.
Yeah, I think
Edison is in. That's weird. Let me see if I can find the tweet. Maybe I won't be able to find the tweet. But I saw something, and it was like, I don't know. Edison's
last update was yesterday at 1 o'clock. So
okay.
It is infallible if you found something more recent than yesterday.
Yeah, I don't know if I can find it now, but I don't know. I was scrolling
Ortega did play against West Ham, last midweek or something,
Okay.
So he's played. So again, that's the thought, is he getting minutes to get a medal? Because he needs a few more if he's going to get a medal, and if they're thinking that way. And Leeds at home is a good game to give a guy like him, so.
Especially just before, Champions League.
Yeah, but again, I think before Champions League, you play Ederson, because you don't want him stiff, you know?
No, for sure. But I don't know. Keepers are, they're not really asked to do much anyway.
He's a ball player.
Yeah, fair enough. But will he be on the game will be in Leeds' final third? Like, Ederson isn't really going to be needed to be on the ball anyway, I don't think, as much as another game, if they're playing like a Liverpool or whoever it is, it's Leeds at home. Like, no disrespect.
Sure.
But no, I get your point. I do definitely get your point.
I don't think people that predict it, because Sam Allardyce could change the goalkeeper. That's on a coin toss now as well. I seen Kahuna is when he got himself a Joe Robles, or might not have been Kahuna, but I'm sure it was. So we have a coin toss situation in goalkeeper for Leeds, but I think otherwise it will be hard to pick the team because who knows who Sam will pick and what kind of shape that he'll play, because he does know just as much about football as Arteta and Pep, and we know what their roulette system's like. So Sam Allardyce, we've got a wee bit of his roulette to to watch out for if you're going to be back in Leeds.
100%. But on the topic of fighting for titles and stuff, obviously second place in this matchup tab is Feyenoord, and obviously this is a challenger team, but they are away to Excelsior. But they're a team that are looking to win the Eredivisie. So this is not a team that's gonna take this game lightly in any way. I don't foresee any sort of weird rotational situations. I'm pretty sure Feyenoord play next midweek, right? Is that
midweek Europe?
Yeah, they got through. They definitely got through, didn't they? Again, did they get through? Yeah, they did. Again, they play Roma, don't they? I'm sure they do. Somebody plays Roma. Leverkusen play Roma, don't they? But regardless, they're going to want to sort of win this game away to Excelsior. And yeah, I mean, the odds are stacked in Feyenoord's favour.
Currently top of the league.
Yeah.
And the points are tight. They're on 73. They've got 8 points on PSV, and they've got 11 points on Ajax. So yeah, it's just about getting the job done for Feyenoord. They won't be taking it lightly. You're very right there, because winning the league, this Champions League, they don't want to be messing about with us. There's no more European football for them. They were eliminated by Roma, and it's Roma Leverkusen, like you said.
I remember now in extra time. Yeah, thanks for that, Samuel.
But yeah, looks like a good Feyenoord team. Wiefer, Kotchu, and Szymanski, So a lot of talent in this Feyenoord team that should be going on to win the title. And that's one of the things that I love about Sorare. I know you appreciate it as well, particularly with the Wonder Kids. But Feyenoord don't win the league every year. People on Sorare are convinced that Ajax win the league every year, right? And that's not true. But equally, Feyenoord don't obviously do it every year. So this is a good year to be a Feyenoord fan. Obviously getting to the quarterfinals of the Cup wasn't, obviously they wanted to go further in Europe. The last year they got to the final. So it's this is a good, especially Kotchu, he's like a little bit of a Feyenoord, definitely a cult hero at this stage, if nothing else,
Yeah.
Some of these other guys are a bit newer to the party, obviously. They've obviously transferred some guys out, as we've seen, but this is a cool Feyenoord team to kind of see over the line to win this title in the Eredivisie, isn't it?
It is, and it's a really, really young team. We're looking at that starting 11 there. Gertrude, Hartmann, Kotchu, we first mentioned there's 5 under 23s, Pacquiao, or however you pronounce that, and Jimenez as well. There's 7 players there, all under 23. So that'd be a massive achievement for a team so young to obviously win that title. And just going off this weekend in terms of Sorare and how the under 23 leaderboards will look, we could potentially see a very, very high score, maybe from a Kotchu and Gertrude if they get the clean sheet. So there's definitely, I'm worried as an under 23 player of their sort of capabilities in scoring really high this weekend.
Yeah, because when you couple that with so again, if you're rolling with some of these guys, you might have the shot of a Haaland, or maybe, I don't know if you would be back. Oh, Haaland is great then. Of course, you'll be back. I just know people will give him a bad rap for his AA, but definitely a bit of under 23 power there. And Bayern Munich away to Bremen. I've seen Bremen play a few times this season, and Bremen are do you remember prime Burnley? They could kind of beat anyone,
4-4-2.
Yeah. With 2 strikers just going up busy. And, if you watch Werder Bremen, you maybe have, Harry, and that's why you're smiling. But Fulkrug and the other guy, I forget his name, they both get kind of funny names. But the pair of them, that's what it's like old school, two strikers going up there. And on the break and on transition, they're deadly. So I do find it surprising Thomas Tuchel's Bayern Munich against Werder Bremen away is third up there,
Yeah, I guess the stats won't take into account in terms of managerial changes, and Bayern were good for the majority of the season, and now obviously a very good team. But of late, since the managerial change and going out in the Champions League or whatever, there's been a bit of just been a lot of change, and I guess the results have really suffered. And I mean, I know I mentioned it to you after it happened, that Mainz thing when we said, Bayern have a great fixture. And I was like, hang on a minute, Mainz, they're no mugs. And they ended up beating them 3-1. Yeah. I'm not saying Werder Bremen are going to go beat Bayern 3-1 here. But what I'm saying is, like what you're sort of alluding to as well, is this a top 3 fixture? I don't know. I really don't know.
Yeah, especially looking at that midfield. Gravenberch on 70% to play. Oh, no harm to the kid or whatever, but this isn't Mazraoui in at right back, Cancelo in at left back. This doesn't feel like imperious Bayern of old, for the SO5 leaderboards. And Werder Bremen team, it's Dutch is the other guy, but it looks like Füllkrug is out. Max Philip looks to play. And for cap modes, by the way, if this guy is going to be as cheap as he is, he's very decisive capable. Max Philip, he's been around the block a few times. He's played against Bayern a few times, and I'd be surprised in his Dortmund days or wherever else he's been playing, he's maybe not had some joy in this fixture in the past. So, I definitely think Werder Bremen have got a wee bit of especially being at home, and they'll want Bayern to have the ball, and then they'll want to break into Philip and Dutch and just go and cause Pavard and De Ligt and Sommers some headaches. That's what they'll want to do. So it's just set up to be, it could go either way, really. I don't think this is a top 3 game in terms of the leaderboards for global fantasy football.
No, and it's not like Bayern's best 11 either, if we're being honest. I'm not really a big fan of Upamecano and stuff, but he's played the majority of the season. Mazraoui hasn't hardly played. Obviously, Pavard going into centre half, which I actually think is probably more suited to do so. I don't really love him as a right back. Obviously, Gravenberch comes in for Goretzka, and Gnabry hasn't really started that many games either this season, really, especially of late. Yeah. But I don't know. Don't get me wrong. There's no weakness there because anyone in Bayern's 22 3-man squad is going to be a very, very good player. But Werder Bremen have nothing to worry about. Like they're safe. I think they're 12th in the league. Like you go play with a bit of freedom and go cause an upset. Like you just got nothing to lose, and sometimes that's a scary place to be. You could also argue they got nothing to play for, but again, that comes with freedom as well. It just depends how motivated they are on the day, really, doesn't it?
Yeah, and I think Big Dutch is we're hearing here. Like him and the other guy Füllkrug, they've been in the shop window all season. People all over Europe are after big, dynamic, exciting, clinical forwards. So they're definitely not going to be. The strikers themselves, when they get opportunities, man, they'll be hungry to score goals against Bayern. That's shop window day for these guys.
Yeah.
And the table in Germany is tight, and Bremen, definitely won't give up on any high hopes. I don't think we have any coverage for the Lima game, do we? I don't think we have. Lima aren't a covered team, are they? That's Peru, isn't it?
They as in they'll get scored, but I don't know.
But we don't have cards for them.
No,
playing then. Yeah.
As far as I'm aware, no, you're right. Yeah.
I do have the Rangers and the Aberdeen team here because there's a few cards for Rangers. So if you have Rangers cards, expect 4 of them to play. So you could play probably Davis, Raskin, Cantwell, and Sakala if you wanted. But and again, this is a big fixture for Rangers because they're at home. But Aberdeen are in great form. Aberdeen's manager is an ex-Celtic player, and he's in great form. He's just got a new contract. They're in great fettle. They've just beat Rangers before Rangers get beat off a Celtic. So.
Your boy scored a worldie, didn't he? Liam
did, and he meant
it. Of course, he meant it.
So again, that's all paper. Like Rangers at home. Probably historically they do beat Aberdeen, but Aberdeen Rangers is always a tricky fixture. More so when it's away, obviously. But that's one. If you have Aberdeen cards, by the way, it's one to pay attention to. Probably, maybe you could get a good wee cheeky. I'm playing scales at L1549 just on the hope that. I don't see Rangers scoring 3 against them, really, and I think some of these cards, that's your biggest fear, isn't it?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, like you said, when you said the fixture, and when I looked at it, I was like, I'm sure Aberdeen beat Rangers like a couple of weeks ago. No, I mean, even less than that, wasn't it? Like 2 weeks ago, week and a half ago. So, you could argue Rangers are one revenge or at home. The odds are stacked in their favour in that sense, with home advantage and whatever. But like you said, this Aberdeen will have nothing to fear, knowing that they're beatable, this Rangers team. And it's all about keeping it tight, isn't it, for as long as possible. If Rangers go 1 or 2-0 up in the first 20 minutes, and it's going to be a long 70 minutes after that. But if you can keep it tight for the first 30 and hopefully the first half, then it'll be all to play for the second half. And it's just a case of, can that happen, and can you close Rangers' quality out for as long as possible, basically.
Yeah, because Aberdeen have got some really good foreign players in there. That Miovski and Duke, they're getting, a lot of praise and a lot of
very good. Duke's really good player, very quick, and has scored a lot of goals this season. So, he's definitely in the shop window on another sort of note. But, and then Miovski as well.
Yep. And then we've got a bit of Celtic action. So Celtic away to Hearts, like we're kind of talking about. I don't think this being an away fixture, like it kind of does play into it because Hearts at home, Hearts are a good team, generally, if you know what I mean. But Celtic have a good away end when it goes to Hearts as well. And their manager is a former Rangers player, Naismith. So there's a wee bit of that action going on. My predicted 11 would totally agree with what we've got here on Play Sharper. It's going to be UK season. Braxton's going to be in for the next 2 or 3 weeks.
Bless me,
and that's okay, buddy. And otherwise, I think because the job's not officially done yet, the league is not mathematically done yet. The manager has the mantra of one game at a time, we never stop, and all the rest of it. So I don't think you're going to see any signs of rotation hit this team other than what's been enforced on the defence through injury. Kobayashi been L15 of 43, and Ralston been L15 of 48. Is very tempting because if you look at the scores Alistair Johnson's been collecting recently, or Carter Vickers and Starfelt, for example, these are very cheap opportunities to get these guys, and probably will be a very small window into like cap 220 and 240 with some real firepower on top of them, so watch out for that. The midfield picks itself, I think it's going to be O'Reilly, McGregor and Rio. But I did say on the Celtic podcast stuff that I've been doing this week, Harry, that I think there will be a point in the season, there might be an opportunity in the season that maybe McGregor doesn't start a game, or maybe we'd see a midfield three without there being pressure on the result that has like Iwata in it and Rio or something like that. I don't know. So I'm always open to there being a curveball into this team. And I think if this team was to get a curveball, it would be the midfield three. And it could be something, if it was to be a curveball, obviously it could be anything. So I think it will be Rio, McGregor and O'Reilly, but I really wouldn't rule anything out in the midfield, to be quite frank. And then the front three picks itself with Haksabanović's form. Abada apparently trained all of last week. I was in the press conference, Harry. You've probably seen it for before the Old Firm thing for the semi-final. And the manager said his words in the press conference were Jota, Hatate, and Abada have trained all week. And on the semi-final, Jota and Rio started, and Abada was not in the squad. So either Abada's just needs more time to come back to fitness, or he's also got speculation around his future. Who knows what's going on? But he wasn't even in the squad at the weekend, having trained all week. So I think this will be the front three, undeniably. I don't think there's any risk of O could. I don't see O starting this game, but O will probably get good minutes if Kyogo gets his goal quickly. And then the Hearts team under Naismith, they're looking to beat Aberdeen into third place. So this is quite an interesting match for, and with the Aberdeen Rangers game we just spoke about, for the top 4 positions, who gets into Europe and qualification, the way it goes, because the third team in Scotland is like guaranteed, I think, Conference League groups at worst case. And Scottish clubs struggling like mad, Harry, to qualify for group stages of, it's mad, mate, honestly. See, the amount of times, and Celtic fans and Rangers fans, this is something that we can share, that obviously the coefficient is quite important in Scotland because we like the chance to, now Celtic will qualify directly into the groups. We don't need to qualify at all, which is beautiful. Mm-hmm. But none of that's helped by when Aberdeen get in Europe or when Motherwell are in Europe or Hearts, because they get beat off of the 4th best team in Macedonia in the Conference League 4th qualifying round and stuff like that. And it's just always, and sometimes there's good teams that knock them out, like Sociedad or AZ Alkmaar or something. That's happened. But more often than not, it is like teams you've never heard of from Albania in the 2nd qualifying round that have done them in pre-season or something. And it's just like, Jesus Christ, another year where we've not got another team going to try and do something for us, So anyway, it's all to play for in that 3rd spot, because getting guaranteed a group stage is beautiful for that team, No,
100%. There's nothing more really in that league if you're not Celtic or Rangers to play for, if we're being honest, right?
Yeah, in terms of those credentials, you're absolutely right.
Their first place. That's their first place sort of reward.
Yeah, basically. So after that, we get to PSG. Now, Harry boy, we probably, before we talk about PSG as an entity, right, we probably need to talk about the whole Messi situation, right? Messi has been caught with the other one. He's been caught with the other women, as it were, with going to Saudi Arabia on holiday. And if you listen to Joe Pompliano, he's saying that Saudi Arabia have offered him 400 million a year to go and play there. So he's been suspended by PSG. I think the fine is 1.7 million euros. He's not going to play for the next 2 weeks. The season only is 3 weeks left. I think it's probably quite safe to say it's the last time. Is it the last time we've seen him in a PSG shirt?
Yeah, gun to my head. Is it the last time we see him in a PSG shirt? Yeah, I would say so. I think I lean towards like you said, for the following reasons. One, there's not many games left of the season. They've got, PSG are PSG. They're out of the Champions League. I'm sure they'll mop up the league. I don't know what the points difference is right now, but I'm sure they'll be fine. Even though they've had a tricky couple of weeks. Like, I won a Donnarumma rare card a couple of weeks ago, and I looked at Sorare data, and there was the fixtures last 6 were incredible, on paper. But PSG being PSG just don't like to defend as much as we'd like them to. If from a defensive, clean sheet standpoint and stuff, they'll always outscore their opponent. It seems like in that league, but they always seem to concede, and that's obviously not great for defensive PSG players on Sorare. But in terms of the Messi situation, it's a weird one. I was listening to the Sorare Data podcast or live stream a couple of days ago about Lairds situation. Obviously just brought in his Real Messi, and somehow this is the last thing in the world that you would have thought have happened, but this is just the craziness of football, and then consequently Sorare, right, and our sort of involvement in it. And you just couldn't write it, could you? Like Messi going on a little trip to Saudi Arabia, I think training was cancelled or something, and then they put training back on, and he's still on the plane, and he's a bit like, well, I'm not turning around now, type of thing. I don't know, how it all happened timing wise, but that's basically what happened. And I don't know. The chanting outside of homes and outside the ground, we want Messi this, we don't want him to play for us, and all this sort of stuff. Those PSG fans don't know how lucky they are, mate. I was lucky enough to go watch this team live 2 months ago. Messi scores a winner. I watch Neymar play. I watch him back. They're so spoiled, I think, as a fan base. They just don't appreciate. Sometimes you don't appreciate what you have until it's gone, and that's very true in all aspects of life.
Well, Barcelona are feeling that way. A lot of people are saying he'll go back to Barca. Obviously, I think, Harry, I want him to go to Man City. I would love Man City to roll out the red carpet and go and make it happen. Sell half of their academy to make it happen through financial fair play. Just go and sell those 20 guys that are on loan to all those teams in Spain and America and Holland and whatever, and then just bring Messi into the league for 1 year. If you imagine putting Messi into that Man City team right now, it would be phenomenal. Because I don't think anyone else in Europe is on the table, really, are they?
It doesn't look like, does it? Like you said, you mentioned Barcelona. Yeah, that romantically makes sense. Going back home, but yeah, if you're Messi, you've just won the World Cup. That's sort of ticked off. The only thing you've not really done is try it in the Premier League, and we don't know how high that ranks in his sort of team's. I don't know, wants and needs, whatever it is. I don't know if he wants that on his CV or needs that on his CV to really, categorize himself as whatever. He probably knows he's the GOAT. But what I'm saying? From a fan's perspective, does he really think that we want him to go there? I don't know. Whatever it is, it's an interesting conversation. Obviously, Pep being there helps massively. That'd be great. Well, do you need to go to Saudi this year, really? Is that 400 million not going to be there in 2 years? I'm sure it will be, and it might be 500-600 at that point. So it's go to the Prem maybe for a year. With the best team, you're not going to have to do much running. You're going to be pampered. Everything's going to be there for you. I think that makes a lot of sense, but then so does going back to Barca, doesn't it? I don't know. I think those two right now for me are the front runners. I can't see anything else happening right now. I don't see MLS now. I just don't. I'm sorry. I don't see the franchise situation, the Beckham, esque type of move. And I don't see the Argentina, Newell's Old Boys type of move either right now. It just don't make sense. But then money talks, Quinny. We think these players got too much money, but which they do. But then it's also it seems like that doesn't even matter. It doesn't.
I think the Miami move or the MLS move has to happen in the lead up. He wants to play the next World Cup, is the rumor now we're hearing. He wants to go to a World Cup as a World Cup champion. So if he is going to go to America, the next World Cup is hosted in North America, then he'll probably save that for closer to 2026, So it does then leave the door open to another possibility. Maybe it's Barca again for the swan song. I'd love it to be the Premier League. I'd love it to be Man City. He could come to Celtic. I wouldn't rule that
out. You'd have to sell Jota first. Jota's got to go. Get him off the wage bill. Nah, but I don't know. It's an interesting one. It's a great sort of. I mean, not many people will be able to relate to this. There'll be a couple, but like back in the Football Index days, Quinny, I remember when it was like the whole Messi's leaving Barcelona and like where's he going then, if that makes sense. And that was like Man City was a big rumor then, and and we were all excited at the time of where that would lead and stuff, and it was sort of. It's just all come back around, and a couple of years later, and this PSG thing is it's been a weird situation, and I think just get him out of there. Like if you're not appreciated by the fans and stuff, and the other good thing I think about the Man City move is like I said, he won't have to do too much really off the ball, which he doesn't do any really at PSG. His productivity is obviously being on the ball and creating things, but he's going to have like a network around him at Man City where like. Everything's just set up for him. Like, it's the Premier League, the toughest league in the world, all that stuff. And I'm seeing comments in the chat, he won't want to, face a slamming tackle against a Dan Burns and stuff. But like, the Man City, which is probably true. Nobody does. He's 6 foot fucking 19.
Have you seen the tackles in La Liga? Like, let's get real about it.
Oh yeah, 100%. But like his body now at 30, whatever, 5 isn't the same as when he was 22. Riding tackles against Sergio Ramos and stuff. It's just a different body. And you can't combat it as well when you sort of grow older.
Everyone wants to go back to Barca. He's going to go back to Barca, and he's going to face.
Well, yeah, no, I agree. But my thinking with the Barca one is like he would go to Barca being the main man, obviously, right? But I don't think he would go to Man City. Obviously, he's the main man. He's Messi. Like his name carries way more weight than anyone else. But like you've got Haaland, you've got players who've got serious legs right now, and I don't know if Messi would need. What I'm saying is, if he went to Barca, he probably needs to play every game in the sense like Barca would need him to. But if he goes to Man City, he could have, he could do whatever he wants. The rotational aspect of Pep Guardiola's philosophy would probably mean, Messi isn't going to play every game. Like, is he going to play away to West Ham or like away to
He's not going to play 60, 70 games. No.
Yeah, it's just not going to happen, and he doesn't need that to happen, which I think is a nice thing. If I'm Messi, I'd go have a cigar at Man City personally. Where if I'm going back to Barcelona, I think the expectations would be like massive again. Do you get what I'm saying? That would be where my head would be at.
Get Barca back to the top. But Barca are a bit of a basket case now because they've tried to move on from Messi, and it's been an absolute show of stupid transfers. The manager's situation is kind of resolved now. Xavi's very firmly in, but to then they're trying to fix not having Messi. They've still got that squad, and then they put Messi back on top of that squad. It's just like they're just delaying the inevitable. I really personally don't hope the Barca thing happens like on that level. Like he's done his goodbye. He's been there, seen it, done it. I think, I'd love to see him go to the Prem. I'd love to see him go to City because, like you say, he's not going to play League Cup. He's not going to play away to the bottom 3. He's not going to play most FA Cup matches. He'll play most group stage games. He'll play most of the league, and you'll get, a bit of Messi in the Prem. And he doesn't need to prove anything. Like somebody else has said that as well in the chat. It's a great point. But it is like more people now. If you listen to people that talk about football, Harry, as we all do, more and more people now are unapologetically saying Messi is the greatest of all time now that he's won the World Cup. It's not he's definitely in the top 3 or the top 5 or whatever. Everyone now feels a bit freer to say Messi is the greatest of all time. And adding a Premier League title onto that, like, is just, like, he really could do with one as well. He's had a great career. He is probably going to be the greatest of all time. I think we can all probably agree upon that. But equally, I think we can all agree upon if there's an opportunity for the greatest player of all time to play in the situation we're talking about, Man City in the Premier League and everything, it would be a bit of a crime against football for me for it not to happen.
Yeah, I agree. I do. I think that's the best way to end that sort of segment for sure. That is the best way to describe it for me.
And then we've got Burnley
against my old boys. Now, I'm telling you for a fact.
2 seconds, Harry. Before we do totally move on, we've not even looked at the PSG team yet. So let's just quickly look at the team. We don't need to chew it over because we have done it to death, right? But we'll put the PSG team on because there is some options there for some folk or whatever. Because I dropped out Messi out of my draft, and that was a huge because the price of Messi versus Mbappe on the draft is you actually get some change. So it actually means the rest of my team got a bit stronger. So yeah, if you maybe know the cheaper players, maybe like Ekitike, 40 points, maybe you might get a bit of him in your team. So yeah, maybe there's a bit of PSG love to be had there. But yeah, there's a PSG team expected to be this weekend.
It looks just doesn't look the same without Messi, does it?
No, it doesn't. It's not the same. But then there's a clutch of teams there, Harry. Burnley, Brighton, Sporting, Porto. They all feel like very defensive teams, quite low-scoring affairs overall. Really, that's just not the just the sentiment when I see those four teams lined up there together.
Yeah, so I can talk about the Burnley situation quite well. So obviously, my hometown club Cardiff have managed to stay up, and they have avoided relegation successfully. We saw them play against Huddersfield on Bank Holiday, I think, or maybe on this last Sunday, and at home, and they just got absolutely battered because they knew they were up. Like there was nothing on that game, and you could argue there's nothing on it for Burnley as well, actually, because they've won the league, but Burnley are at home. And I can guarantee you Cardiff won't want to be playing against that Burnley team. Like they are on holiday. I know some girls who went to my high school were out with a lot of the team on Saturday. They're done. They're in party mode. I'm telling you now. They don't want anything to do with that game. So as somebody with no Burnley exposure anymore, I'm not too happy about my hometown club playing against them because I know it's going to be an absolute romping. And it might not be 4-5-0 in terms of score, but I think like in terms of possession stuff, I think they're literally just going to just play them off the park in that sense. Like Cardiff might not even get a touch of the ball. And I think clean sheet's pretty sort of factored in, but then you've got to look at like Muric has been getting rested and stuff now and again. And I don't know what the play sharp was looking like for Burnley. It's been pretty tough to sort of figure out, is Bayer going to play? Like a lot of that sort of.
There's no play sharper for Burnley.
There's no play sharper for Burnley. Wow.
Only Norwich this week.
Interesting. There normally is. That is an interesting one.
It.
Yeah, no, I mean, I believe you. I just mean normally there is a little Burnley segment there, but yeah, that'll be a romping. It's just can you predict what's going to happen in terms of team news for Burnley? Because like I said, it's all done. Both teams got nothing to play for really. But obviously, Burnley won't want to lose to Cardiff at home. But yeah, that is an interesting one. And then Brighton at home to Everton. I mean, we saw Brighton last night beat United, late on, but I didn't watch all the game. I did see bits of the highlights, so I can't really comment too much on the game itself. But great win. They're only going to want to do that again, I guess, at home to Everton. And then we've got both the Portuguese teams away from home. Porto had a wicked win last night. They went through to the final of the Portuguese Cup against my boys Famalicão. In really sort of late fashion. I don't know if you've seen it, Quinny, but Otavio has scored one of the best half volleys. Have you seen it? It was. I mean, it's not as good as Aaron Ramsey's against Galatasaray away for Arsenal in the Europa League or Champions League, whenever that was. But it is incredible, and it's an interesting one. I don't know how good really these fixtures are. Away from home, because Porto being Porto, they'll end up conceding. They'll probably win 2-1, penalty 70th minute, something along those lines. Taremi probably tucking that away, but I don't know. I can't really comment on the Sporting one too much. I don't follow them enough. But I don't think Pacos de Ferreira are great. I'm pretty sure they're quite far down. They're 18th, so one below last. So yeah, that is probably it's definitely a better fixture than the Porto game. Sporting defenses and stuff, that could be an interesting one for you guys in terms of clean sheet probabilities. Other than that, we've got Kobe, who have been actually amazing. Have you been following? I mean, I know you follow the J League, but like Kobe have been unbelievable this season.
I've not been paying attention to anything Champion Asia.
Have you not?
Really?
No, I mean, I don't watch all their games, but at the start of the season, they were absolutely romping it. I watched them against Tani, my boy, and I think they beat
maybe Messi could go to Vissel Kobe and play with Iniesta.
Yeah, that is a possibility.
He would fit right into this team, wouldn't he?
He would. They're top of the league. I think over the last couple of years since I've started playing, like Kobe were like the team when I first came on. Were like everyone needs to get Kobe played. Like they had Kikuchi at the back. I'm pretty sure, right? I don't know he still plays there, but obviously injured, whatever. And they just felt like that they were like they had the sort of alpha guys.
Kyogo Furuhashi up front.
Kyogo, of course, as well. So and obviously Iniesta and like that. That felt like you wanted your players to be playing for them. And then they went for when they last season they almost got relegated. They had like a really bad year. And then, and like, they look like to have turned it around this year and they're flying. Like when I watched them against Gamba, who aren't great at all, don't get me wrong, they're shocking this season, but they just battered them. Like they played them off the park. and at home to Yokohama, I can't really see it there being much different to that. Obviously, odds are massively in their favor. Clean sheet probability is pretty high as well. So obviously, get your Kobe stacks in, and then yeah, we got another Ecuadorian team. My boy Seb Gonzalez. Did I tell you he scored a 50 AA on the weekend, Quinny? My unique, and I did not play him.
Oh, no
yeah,
way.
it didn't matter. Like, I've not really got anything to really compliment him right now. But he actually played last night in the Sudamericana, though, so I don't know if he's going to play this weekend. But it doesn't really matter to me. They've got a good home fixture apparently. So if you've got any LDU players, Alvarado's one of their main sort of guys. He's under 23 as well. So keep an eye out for him at home. He's on set pieces and whatever. Galatasaray at home, I'm guessing it's a good fixture. I mean, Quinny might be able to. Chani might be able to speak on that a little bit more. But I don't think Istanbul are shocking, are they?
No, they're normally quite good. They're fifth now.
I was going to say, yeah, I'm sure they won the league a couple of years ago. Like, they're not terrible.
Look at the Galatasaray team now, Icardi, Mertens, Rashica, Lucas Torreira, Sergio Oliveira. That's a really, and this guy with the big 80, I don't even know his name. Well, I've seen him on Sorare, but I don't know who he is outside of that.
A Troglu, is it?
Yeah, his scores are killer. Defense isn't that amazing, I suppose. There's still not a Sasha Bowie card. That's a bit of a crime.
Yeah, that's crazy.
And
some big European players playing there, though, in that, Torreira, Oliveira. There's some really good, older sort of experienced boys in there. Hopefully, Chani says Gala need to win. Besiktas and Fener chasing them down. They just lost to Besiktas. So yeah, big game for Gala.
Yeah, Biglia in midfield and Adnan Januzaj on the wing for Istanbul Başakşehir or BB or whatever we're calling them, Başakşehir. Yeah. So yeah, that's a very interesting one. And I don't know, but Turkish teams, where do we normally find those? They're probably all-star cards or challenger cards at best, aren't they? Really?
Yeah.
Monaco away looks like a great fixture as well.
Yeah, is that on Jir? But Monaco have been stinking recently. Have you seen their Have you seen their recent sort of result? They got battered 4-0 on the weekend. They've been struggling, mate. Honestly, really bad. I mean, look at Nubel's,
because Nubel was so cheap from the
draft. Look at his L5. It's 28, isn't it? That tells you all you need to know in terms of how they've been defensively. But they haven't really been scoring goals either. So I don't know. Again, honestly, Quinny, this is like shaping up to be a really weird week on paper in the sense of I'm not seeing many like fixtures where I'm really worried about their cards in that sense. Genuinely now.
Fair enough. Aye.
Which is a good thing.
In particularly good form themselves. They've conceded 8 goals in the last 3 games, but Monaco have conceded. Jesus, they conceded 8 in the last 3 as well, but that was 7 in the last 2. They lost 3-0 to Lens and then lost 4-0 to Montpellier. Wow, washout.
It shouldn't have happened on paper. Montpellier aren't that great at all.
Yeah, but Monaco and they are hanging on to 4th place ahead of Lille by the skin of their teeth. So what's 4th qualifying for? Is that Champions League or Europa League group stage? Yeah. Europa League group stage. So it looks like Lens are going to be securing 3rd, which will be Champions League playoffs. So there's a few points in it. There's a few games left to go, obviously, but that is incredible if Lens can pull that off. So I think we wish them a bit of luck on that. But Angers, yeah, they're doing rubbish, but they've got some players we've heard of and they've been around a while. So maybe that's not as easy as I thought. But yeah, for sure.
You got Liverpool then at home to Brentford. Liverpool have looked a lot better recently, I would say. They're scoring goals, but Brentford are no mugs. Don't get it twisted.
No, not at all. I think we've all been, I've seen a wee bit of Liverpool over the last 2 or 3 weeks, and Trent has just been flawless.
He's been great. He has.
He's not put a foot wrong. He's been well covered for. I think even defensively, nothing's shown up against him. Which is normally the problem. It's not normally that he makes mistakes, but it's normally showing up that him being an offensive threat has left a gap or caused a problem somehow, and that's how the goal was conceded. So those gaps haven't arisen, and it's been a really solid team. It looks like Gakpo is going to be back in for this weekend. I know there's been a wee bit of rotation with the former Luis Diaz and Jota both been pretty good over the last week or so, eh?
Yeah, and Hendo can only play 1 game a week, so he's back in this week. He didn't play midweek. So yeah, no, I do fancy Liverpool here, don't get me wrong, but Brentford won't roll over easy. Brentford are very, very good on the counter. A lot of pace in their team, and they're normally pretty solid at the back, if I'm being honest. So I don't know. It's an interesting one. I don't see Liverpool romping them.
No, definitely not. And Brentford are riding high at the moment in ninth, and with the right set of results, they're hoping to get into a wee bit of European action with any joy. Obviously Liverpool have got similar aspirations further up the table, but yeah, it's definitely not a gimme. Again, another surprising fixture, to have in on paper better games. Maybe that just shows how difficult the game week is.
I think it is, yeah. I mean, I'm just looking here that the Parrot, I can't see his full name, but he said there's some great fixtures in the MLS, which is strange how they aren't appearing on this list. For example, Nashville, I know they're not on the list right now, but I just want to add, I know that's a great fixture because my goalie's playing against them, and that's Chicago. So yeah, Nashville do have a great fixture. Maybe we'll get into that if it's well, we'll definitely look at that on Play Sharper. If we look at the MLS fixtures in a bit, but we've got a couple of J League fixtures. Yokohama, Hiroshima look to have a good fixture, to be fair, for a clean sheet and stuff. I'd be looking at Osaka there under 23 for a clean sheet. Norwich at home, Dortmund at home to Wolfsburg probably smells 3-2 Quinny, doesn't it? Because Wolfsburg have been scoring goals recently.
Yeah, well, on the Dortmund note, we know the big transfer that's happened this week, or it seems to be all done. Jude Bellingham looks to be signed, sealed, and delivered, and I think Bellingham going to Real Madrid, that could be something that really just kicks them up a gear for the next, we could have another Real Madrid dynasty for the next 10 years with that midfielder they've built with Bellingham in it.
100%, mate. I mean, I remember when Bellingham played against Man City a couple months ago in the Champions League, and I'm lying, it was against Chelsea, and it was said that his whoever Bellingham's agents are, whatever, met with Real Madrid that sort of evening, and he didn't really have a great game on the night. I think it was at Chelsea at Stamford Bridge. And yeah, I mean, ever since then, it seemed like the Real Madrid was going to be the destination for him. And like you said, over the last couple of days, it kind of solidified that a little bit more. Yeah, don't get me wrong, it's massive for them to acquire a really big English talent. I think is probably the way to look at it, because I saw a tweet from somebody saying, for Real Madrid to sort of attract the biggest on paper, the biggest English talent right now is huge for the next couple of years in terms of bringing more in, if that makes sense. Because English players don't necessarily really, or British players in general, don't really go to Spain that often. We saw Bale was probably the last big one. Obviously, before that, we had the Owens and Beckhams and stuff, but we haven't really had one since. I can't really think. Maybe it's escaping me, but there's not, right. So it's I think this sort of Bellingham move will kind of kickstart maybe a conveyor belt of talent that maybe Bellingham can kind of just tap up a little bit and be come and play for us, at Madrid, rather than going to your cities. A lot of these younger kids at English sort of academies and stuff might be touted to start going abroad a bit sooner in that sense, and not signing for a Chelsea academy and being left on the bench for 4 years, or things like that. I think we're going to see maybe a trend. But yeah, in terms of who they their options in midfield, Quinny, it's just going to be frightening. In terms of younger, your Camavingas, Tchouameni's been hot and cold recently for me, and there's been rumors that he might actually end up leaving, even though he's a completely different player to Bellingham in terms of style and what he offers. But yeah, Bellingham, Camavinga, Tchouameni, and then you got your Valverde's, Cruces, and Modric's, who are in their sort of latter years, but still Rolls Royces in their own right. And I don't know, in terms of SO5 though, as a Bellingham holder, I mean, yeah, I'd be happy, but you are going to be faced with a bit of rotational risk, and that's not nice, because nobody likes being rotated.
Of course. Well, I think it's kind of came out and it's been revealed again that Toni Kroos has extended his contract for a further year. So, Bellingham, he made headlines, obviously, leaving Birmingham for that fee to Borussia Dortmund, rejecting Man United. Birmingham then retire his shirt number, and then he goes to that football science laboratory that is Borussia Dortmund, and they've turned him into this, European class midfielder. And going to that Real Madrid team, he's conquered everything, man. He's so young. And this guy could go on to be easily the best midfielder over the next 10 to 15 years. And having that year, playing alongside Modric, playing alongside Kroos, and that real powerhouse that Real Madrid have built in Europe over the last 10 years, they've probably done the best job of anyone in modern football of trying to transition through a dynasty, if you know what I mean, trying to transition through a huge period of success. They've shaped up probably better than anyone has, I think, to do that.
Agree. I was just looking at the chat as well. Nusa says, shout out to Ceballos as well. He's a baller. So that just, adds to the competition. I'm not saying Bellingham's not better than these guys. He obviously is in his own right. And, it depends what formation, Real Madrid are going to go with. And, they can play Valverde off the right. Like there's things that, there's things they can do to accompany, all their sort of midfield options. Raul says if he plays well, he won't be rotated. But yeah, that's obvious. Like that any player is not, that's just kind of what it is. But ultimately, when you've got so many good players like Man City, they all play well all the time, but they're still going to. Bernardo Silva's still not going to play on the weekend, and things like that happen. They're still world-class players, and they'll come on and do what they need to do in the game that they're asked to do so. But there's still going to be rotations. Like you can't avoid that. Bellingham isn't going to play every single game for Real Madrid. I can tell you that for a fact. Like that's just not going to happen, and that's fine. Like not every player plays every game. That's fine. But in terms of like SO5 scores, like. Is it going to be that much better for him, really? Because right now he is Mr. Borussia Dortmund, right? We've seen it with like a Kochu at Feyenoord. Like for these younger guys, it is great for them to be the main man.
Can I say? I think if you will not just copy and paste what Kroos does, even if he just did the exact same as what he does, Real Madrid concede a lot less goals than Borussia Dortmund.
He's a completely different player to Toni Kroos. I got to be honest.
No, but I mean in terms of scoring position.
Yeah, but Toni Kroos is a Rolls Royce passer. That's where he gets his passes, his points. Right.
Real Madrid dominate possession in a lot more games.
Yeah, but Bellingham isn't a player like that. I can tell you that for a fact. Bellingham is a box-to-box machine who's just not going to stop running. He's going to be the last midfielder getting into the box, arriving late, getting goals and stuff. Toni Kroos is the complete opposite. He is get the ball from the back four. And can I spray it wherever I can, if that makes sense? And that's how he gets his points. I think Bellingham is way more similar to a Valverde than he is Kroos, 100 million %. Valverde's quicker, but Bellingham's way better in terms of goals, assists, close control. Valverde's class, but Bellingham's like at a level above a Valverde for me.
Yeah, on the pitch, like I totally agree with you, but on an SO5 terms, like if Kroos wraps out an 80, it's all like final third passes and attempted assists and stuff like that. Bellingham is going to get all those points as well from the way he plays. But my point is like if you look at how good like Bellingham scores are, let's say he doesn't even get as good as Kroos is at final third passing, attempted assists, big chance created. Let's just say he's as good as he is at Dortmund, with what he does anyway, which is a bit of tackling and a bit more of this and a bit more of that. The amount of goals less that Real Madrid concede versus Dortmund, because as a midfielder he loses 2 points for every goal.
True.
And Dortmund can ship 3 or 4 goals like 12 times a season.
Agree. Yeah, that's hindered him. No, I agree with that. That's a good point. He will lose less points, but I don't think he's going to like gain too many points from like his passing sort of ability as a Kroos would in that Real Madrid team. Like you said, I think Bellingham in and around the box, linking up play, attempted assists is where he's going to really, really ramp up his scores. Linking up with Vinny Jr. Like, do you know what I mean? Of course you're going to get more assists. Like, it's not rocket science. Benzema, Rodrigo, like, and somebody pointed out his Bellingham's like dribbling as well. Like he is for like the stature of the player he is and stuff in terms of physically, like the way he can gallop with a ball is frightening. It's very Valverde like they call him the eagle or whatever. He just flies with the ball. Bellingham's not as quick, but he's more like imposing, I would say. And I just think, I mean, you could argue he's going to get more decisives, but is he going to be on the ball more? And when I mean more, I mean like more touches. I don't know. I'd be interesting to see. Because like I said, he's the main man at Dortmund. Everything goes through him, really. And it's allowed to go through him. It's, I don't know. It's an interesting one. I am really interested to see how it plans out. I'm not saying it's a bad buy. I'd love to have a Bellingham card. But I'm just saying it's going to be interesting to see how like the points differ and where they come from. Do you know what I'm saying? Like he's still going to be an elite card. He's going to be as elite as it really gets. But it's just going to be interesting to see what sort of role that sort of, comes into fruition.
Yeah, well, fair enough. And Dortmund, they had the title in their grasp. They could have been leaving a German champion, and it seems to be, as we mentioned already, Bayern are back in the driving seat. But Borussia Dortmund are going to chase them down all the way to the end, and they're at home to Wolfsburg, who are sitting in 7th at the moment, and they are, getting their act together, and they're starting to build a bit of form. The Borussia Dortmund team looks really strong. I think I hate the sight of Emre Can, but outside of that, like it's a really strong team, front three to die for. Brandt and Bellingham in midfield have been great this season. Guerrero, Hummels, Sula at the back are solid. that Ryerson, I think, has been a bit jailbait. And yeah. And the Wolfsburg team, Nemeka, Arnold in midfield have been in good form of late. And in that kind of front four that happens of Kaminski, Wimmer, Wind, and Svanberg, none of them are really hitting form at the moment, but they're all quite busy and, they all kind of forward press together. So I'm not sure, Wolfsburg have got the ability to go and score some goals in a game like this, but it will be one of those games where it'll be Dortmund's downfall that will, like we're talking about, Dortmund can just ship goals for fun, So tough game to read. And that was quite high. I don't know how high it is on the rankings, but what does it say? It's good for Dortmund. It doesn't say, it says goalkeeper -5, forward -15. What does it think is good about this game?
I don't know. I mean, yeah, I really don't know, because obviously Dortmund slipped up last week, which was huge in the sort of title race and stuff. And there's going to be, even more pressure than usual, for this team to perform. But honestly, Wolfsburg, I see them every week I'll be on the SRD app, and there's just goals in their games. Like, they end up just scoring goals, and I just can't see how that won't change away to Dortmund. I see this being a very high scoring game, even though Dortmund will want to sort of try and control it and maybe win 2-0 or something. This is a type of game that they just need to just close out. They don't want any ping pong in terms of goals scored, in terms of goals scored and against and whatever. So yeah, I don't know. I worry for Dortmund here. This is not a nice game to play in at this time of the season, and it smells like goals for me.
Just again on screen, this is all we have for the championship this week. So sorry, somebody asking.
Nusa, honestly, judging, like I said, with the Cardiff thing, there's nothing on the game for any of the teams playing. I don't think Bayer will play personally. That's just a gut feeling, and I don't even think Muric will, if I'm being honest. It was a weird Instagram post that Muric posted a couple of days ago. Can't remember what it was exactly, but it was a bit weird. It came up on my Twitter feed, and there's a bit of whatever around it and stuff. But I don't know. I wouldn't, if you can try not to risk them, then don't, basically. But if you're forced to play them, then play them in a lower sort of like, what's the word? I can't even think of the word. Prioritized lineup. Sorry, my mind went blank there. But yeah, other than that, we've got Udinese, PSV away to Sparta. Probably isn't definitely a decent fixture. Got Genoa, Tigres, Salzburg at home to Rapid. Not bad. Benfica got a really tough game at home to Braga.
Ajax.
AZ Ajax is massive. Obviously, AZ play midweek as well. So they'll have, a couple eyes on that as well. But obviously, they'll want to upset Ajax and whatever they've got going on. Yeah, no, mate, what's going on? Seriously. No, actually, I saw on one of the lineup builders, there was no odds for the MLS games. I don't know whether that's gonna. Oh, here we go. There's a couple here, but I didn't see any odds, so I don't know whether that changes things in this thing. But Seattle at home to Kansas City is, for me, from what I was speaking to a couple friends with. Yeah, that's Kansas is probably the best fixture. And that's kind of what the data sort of shows us as well. If we want to go over and check Seattle's starting 11, I don't know if they've got any injury worries right now.
I think one of my best pals, CR7, I think he's out for a bit. I was listening to a podcast yesterday, and there was I caught it. I was like, I better rewind that and listen to it, and I forgot. But I think CR7, Christian Roldan, is going to be out for a little bit. So
okay.
But otherwise, it's quite an imperious Seattle Sounders, isn't it? Leo Chu comes in for Roldan. It looks like maybe Rusnak plays there, and then I guess that would mean Obed Vargas would partner Atencio in the holding midfield position. It looks to be no João Paulo. So yeah,
this
really
is a weakened
team.
side. Well, I don't know. No Roldan, no Rudiaz, no Tolo, and no João Paulo.
Fair. Yeah, okay, fair.
That's half the team. That is half the team for me. The Parrot says Tolo's doubtful too. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, again, the whole reason, this matchup tab isn't
good. That front three is scary.
It's decent. It's a decent front three, man. There's goals in that front three. There's creativity and there's experience as well. They've all been playing in the. I know Pulido's been out for a few years, but Russell and Charloy have been playing and scoring goals over the last couple of years in this league. And I don't know. This is. I'm taking it back a little bit. Like I said, you look at the matchup tab and it tells you, Seattle Sounders have a good fixture, 57% win probability, whatever, right? But if I'm looking at that and they're four of their normal starting 11 aren't playing, and Rudiaz being one of them, and your boy CR7, honestly, Quinny, I'm not backing this fixture as much as I would have if they were playing, which is obvious, right?
Yeah, fair. I say Togo kind of escaped me, but yeah, not fair enough. I just think Morris, Lodero, Rusnak
It's enough. Yeah, it's enough.
is strong enough, because but again, that front three could, if there is any weakness in Seattle, they could get a couple of goals and really kill it, Mikey Baston's coming in letting us know Rodan suffered a concussion, so nothing,
Ooh.
Obviously, thoughts and prayers with him, hope it's nothing serious, but yeah, it's not like broken legs or torn ligaments or anything, so football wise, not a terrible injury in those terms, if that makes sense, without being 100%. Insensitive.
Look at this stat, Quinny. Kansas have had 55 shots and scored 0 goals.
Oh yeah, I heard some of those stats early season. I didn't know they were still going.
You know what though? I watched them. I watched them against Dallas a couple of weeks ago, and like they weren't bad. Like they keep the ball well. They just don't really score goals, which is obviously the aim of the game, I guess, in football. But they've got some good players. That Eric Tommy and stuff. He's class. Like if you watch him play, he's an actual baller. Like he's really, really good. But I don't know, the fact that there's a couple of those, big guns out for Seattle, it's not as good as a fixture that I would, hope it to be, if that makes sense, if I had Seattle cards. But it's still good enough, I guess. Leverkusen at home to Cologne. That sounds decent, if I'm being honest.
It's a Friday night game, so that's actually a really interesting one, because that'll be tonight, and that's interesting because Leverkusen normally rotate because Leverkusen are going far in Europe, but they're playing Friday night, and then they don't play again until Thursday. So
which helps. Which helps a lot.
Yeah, that's maybe pretty good, So the German FA helping them out, probably, which is cool. And it looks like Wirtz and Frimpong should be on for some Friday night action. The boys are in town. Diaby, guys that watch this channel for a while will know I'm a bit of a Diaby denier. I don't think Diaby's that good. I seen today he was linked to Real Madrid. Could not believe it.
Yeah, I'm not having Diaby that much either, to be honest.
I seen it was Diaby and Frimpong and a double move to Real Madrid. They just went by the right hand side.
Interesting. I don't know if I'm down with that. I like Frimpong, but I don't know if I'd be on the Diaby train.
Nah, I don't like Diaby either. But it looks like a strong team to play Cologne, who are normally like a decent enough outfit, aren't they?
Yeah, they're not mugs, but they're definitely not mugs. Shikri, that kind. There's some decent boys in there.
Yeah. Currently 11th in the table, in between Bremen and Gladbach. So, it's a competitive league this year. Your pal's Mine's up in 8th at the moment, Harry boy. And Leverkusen, obviously in 6th in the semi-final of the Europa League. So winning, it's the Europa League, isn't it? They're doing.
Yeah.
So winning
Europa League, they'll get Champions League. Yeah. Yeah.
So there's a little bit of pressure off them for the league, but I think all the same, they will want to, because if they're eliminated, they're screwed. They can't. There's only so many games in the season that are left. So there is less room to rotate, I think. And I think the way the fixture falls, I think we could see Leverkusen go full strength and throw the kitchen sink at Cologne and try and get the game won in the first hour.
Yeah, and then make the sort of necessary substitutions after that. Would make most sense to me. But yeah, other than that, Quinny, I'm looking. There's a couple games in between that I'm not really too fussed on sort of mentioning. Parma, Lask.
Now we have Karlsruhe. We have to look at Karlsruhe because they're one of the teams that have some of the cheat code players.
Oh, so that Witek guy, isn't it? Or Viztek, or whatever his name is. Yeah.
So they've got more than one, I'm sure. So they've got Kaufman, who's in my Road to Glory, and then they've got Wanacek in midfield. This Nebel guy is featured on Road to Glory as well, so I know he's decent. So yeah, 3 players in there that might be handy, and they're at home to Hanover, who are a Bundesliga club traditionally over the last 20 years.
Yeah.
Do you know any of their players? We know the goalkeeper. He used to play. He was a youth academy kind of product, if you want to call it that, at Man United a long time ago. Ron Robert Zieler, he's been around the game for a while, and no, I don't know anyone else.
Neither do I. No, genuinely, I know that Zieler because I ended up getting his card in a trade a couple months ago. But no, other than that, honestly, I'm out of ideas there.
Karlsruhe, who are OP, are mid-table, so quite secure on rinse and repeat as long as they don't sack the manager, I guess, or sell the players. Yeah. That's nice. That's actually quite appealing. And Hanover, just above them in 8th, they'll maybe have, I don't know how the table lies in Germany, but maybe Hanover have maybe a wee bit more of a shot of a Hail Mary getting into the back end of the playoffs. I don't think it's at all likely at this stage, to be honest, but you never know. But anyway, who knows how this game will go. Team at home will probably be up for pleasing the fans. And yeah, I think Kaufman, Wanacek, Nebel, maybe we'll see them on the leaderboard.
Yeah, for sure. I was just looking there. That 20 fixture kind of stands out to me. I know it's away, but Emmen Emmen are really poor, and 20 are quite a good team and have been this season. And obviously their stacks, their defensive stacks, and even their forward players
The
are
stack of
always
the people, FC20.
seems like Gaza FC, isn't it?
Yeah.
I just saw though that Zaruki's going to final. Did you see that news this morning?
Yeah, so that must mean Kochu's out, eh?
Yeah, so that looks to be done. But yeah, I don't know. I think this is a decent fixture. Emmen are obviously fighting for their lives, and that's not really a nice place to be when when you have 20, if that makes sense. Because this team is fighting relegation and they'll need every point possible, and they're at home. So I don't know. It's an interesting one. Like 20's odds they're even money, so the bookies don't favour them massively. But I do think we could see some big scores from some of their players.
Yeah, I definitely agree. 20 are in that kind of zone in the league where they'll be fighting for qualification next season to the Conference League, I think it will be. But if they can catch Alkmaar with their midweek commitments and Alkmaar playing Ajax, it's a long hope for 20 to catch Alkmaar, but it's a hope they will carry, I'm sure, at this point, So yeah, I think Emmen, somebody was saying to me recently, Emmen are pretty much safe from relegation, and I looked at it and went, no, they're not. So Emmen are kind of...
The
They've
3
been a
go
little
down.
bit better. Yeah. 3 go down. But the
Okay,
third is a playoff spot. And so Emmen are
Ah,
tied in that spot.
got
Volendam
you.
are only 2 points ahead of them. And Vitesse are only 1 further point ahead of Volendam. So it is quite tight at the bottom. I don't know if Emmen are safe, but they're getting, their form has improved. So that's worth a note as well, I would say, as we leave that one now. But Cincinnati, I like this one. I like this one myself when I seen it because I'm a big DC hater. So when I seen Cincy were at home,
DC have been decent recently. I'll give them that.
aye.
3-0 win, wasn't it, last week?
Rooney's just went back to 1990s football and got Benteke, hasn't he?
Big Benteke.
Benteke and Taxi Fountas up there, just a 2-man striker partnership, and then it's just play it into the main and let the quality rise to the top. I didn't realise Yamil Assad was in this team, but he was an MLS Cup winner with Atlanta United, and he was quality back in the day with like Almiron and stuff. So he went away he's got a card from the Peruvian team or something. He kind of fell off the face of the earth since Sorare's been around, but he's an interesting card to see in that team for sure. Along with Russell Knuth, who had great form this year.
No, for sure. I don't mind this DC team, especially away from home. They seem to play with a bit more freedom and stuff. But this Cincy team are just 1-0 merchants right now. They seem to just be winning games 1-0 and keeping clean sheets most of the time. Burrell seems to get get an assist a lot of the time. Acosta's come back into the side. I think he had a bit of a shoulder injury or something, but he looks to be back. Hasn't really been scoring as well as people would like, I guess. And Vasquez has been hot and cold, I would say, similar to maybe Jesus Ferreira as well, actually. MLS forwards have not really set the world alight apart from Buanga really this year. So this is an interesting one. Yeah, I do fancy Cincy, but their games have been tight. Like, don't be surprised if this is not like a couple goals to nil. Like, DC will make this really, really tough for them.
Yeah, I can see that happening for sure. But you expect with Junior Moreno, Acosta, if Brenner's back in the team now, because he's been kind of MIA throughout this season, but if he's back in the team at home, since this could be a good game for them. Because I do think that, like they're not impervious, DC, and if you can score a couple of goals against them, like I think you're probably capable of controlling the game well enough with the quality that Cincy have.
100%. Someone in the chat just says Konyaspor have a decent game for a defensive staff with Sehic and Guil.
Well, we finished Konyaspor.
We could do. I mean, Nashville's in there as well, but we'll do. We'll do Konyaspor and Nashville.
Yeah, that sounds good, Harry boy.
Let's do it.
Let's touch a bit of Turkey because we've not really. Oh no, we did Galatasaray, I suppose, but yeah, Konyaspor. We do like a bit of Guilherme in our life, don't we?
Mm-hmm.
Don't we? And who's the goalkeeper? It's Sehic, isn't it? Yeah, Francisco Calvo, formerly of Chicago, now in Turkey. Pozuelo as well.
Oh, Pozuelo's in there. Wow, I didn't know he was playing there.
Yeah, I don't think he's got a card. I don't think he's been doing that great. Marlos Moreno, he's maybe somebody to look at. Mami Diouf, former Man United, obviously quite famously.
Yeah.
So yeah, they're playing this team who, I don't recognise any of them.
This is Bilal Bayazid's team, but he's suspended this weekend.
So where are Kayserispor? So they're 6th at the moment.
Okay.
And Konyaspor, where are Konyaspor? Oh, they're 7th. Oh, so this is a bit of a 6-pointer on the table. Let me go and look at the league. I'll give that a bit of flavour for you. Because there might be some European spots on the line here. That could be interesting for that because, yeah, Konyaspor will need to keep it tight. No, so the European spots in this league seem to end at third. Champions League and Europa League qualification is all that's on this. I'm going to assume that they must get at least one more spot for Conference League. So I think Europe is kind of out with the reach of both of these teams. So this is a bit of a, home team should probably do quite well. Kayserispor, the away team, away from home this year, they have scored 24 goals in 15 games. At home, Konyaspor have conceded 15 in 16 matches. So yeah, probably good for a home defense stack as it was. And Chicago was the other one we're going to hit.
Yeah. Chicago, Nashville. I mean, I follow Chicago quite closely right now because obviously I've got a Chris Brady rare card in my Cap 240 lineups, which kill me every week. And they're not a bad team, Chicago, right? They've had a couple injuries start of the season. A couple of boys are back. Navarro's back. Well, they got two Navarros, but I think one of them was more key than the other one, if that makes sense, in terms of coming back. And yeah, they huff and puff. You know, Muller gets involved. Gutierrez, Kai Kamara can score goals if he's sort of given the chance to. I guess Gaston Gimenez is a really good player actually, but yeah, I mean, they're missing Carlos Turan, who's a player that I own. He's a centre half. He's like 9'9", absolute giant, but he always seems to make a mistake. He got injured last week, and I rate him. He is a good player, but yeah, he's a bit suspect on the ball, and that sort of leaks things in terms of defense. But yeah, Nashville at home, like you don't want to be playing Nashville at home, if that makes sense. You know, tight sort of stadium, big crowd, and yeah, they're a good outfit. You know, Hani in there, Godoy.
Made headlines about releasing Ake Loba from his contract, so big DP that's not worked out is off the books now. So it does free up a spot, you know, and kind of see how that goes. But Nashville, it's one of those ones where you're not going to score against Nashville away. Maybe you get one or something like that. Maybe you get two if you're super lucky with some set pieces and a penalty or something. But equally, like normally Chicago's problem is also conceding. Teal Burnbury and FIFA Paco are like high energy guys, so they'll always run into space and keep it busy for the Mukhtars and whoever else to get involved. But this could be an interesting game.
Yeah, like I don't look at it and go, like if you take Mukhtar out of that team, Quinny, I'm not having the team. Like they're decent defensively, but like I'm not really having them, offensively. They're no Seattle when they're fully fit, are they? In terms of the personnel that Seattle got, and I don't know, it still might be enough to get past the Chicago team because, like I said, they seem to just roll over quite often, for the most part, and it's young keeper and stuff. It's a nice sort of setup to play against, I guess, if you're Nashville, but. I don't know. We'll see how it sort of plans out. The bookies are not massively. Well, they're obviously just under even money, but like they're not like 1.5. Like they're not complete favorites. Like they're clearly favorites for the game. They're at home. They're going to be. But I don't see it being like a romping. I'd be shocked if it's like 3 or 4-0. I really would, unless Mukhtar's just has an absolute heater of a game, which maybe he is due. I'd probably jinxed it now, haven't I, against my keeper? But like I can't remember the last game. The Mukhtar has been like incredible, if that makes sense, this season. Like last year, it was just 80s, 80, 90, 100, 70. This season, he hasn't been as good as I'm pretty sure he was last year. But we're only 1/3 away into the season, so there's a long way to go. But yeah, just a weird week, Quinny, it seems like. We've obviously gone over loads of teams, loads of different regions, loads of different leagues. And normally I have like a clear like strategy, I guess, to talk about in terms of what I think people should do, I guess, this weekend and stuff. But mate, it seems a bit random, if I'm being honest. Like a real weird week. Like there's no standout, like there's no like 3 or 4 challenger matchups. I'm like, wow, like you need to avoid challenger. And then I'm like, there's not 3 or 4 champ matchups that I'm like, you need to avoid. This Man City, and then it's like there's a couple after that. But I don't know. It's a really weird week, Quinny. How are you sort of seeing it go?
Well, looking at the rare competitions now, like the head counts to card payouts, I think on all these divisions, if you've got a team that's competitive in your eyes, of getting, you need to sniff around 400 in most leagues with different multipliers and such, But if you can imagine sniffing around there, then I think most of these regions really should be fair game to a strong lineup. The cat modes have got huge entries, so this is a bit of a free-for-all, isn't it, on your good low picks and who comes good and whatever. But outside of that, for as I say, regions are probably where you're going to feel that fixture disparity, where you're going to find like, oh, just playing a bit of a mix mash team of bits and pieces probably is the best way to go. So yeah, I think it's probably a good bit of opportunity here. There's as well not that many takers. Just as I'm looking at the prize pool, we've got 450 entrants into the Leon Special Weekly, Harry. I don't know if you've looked at the actual prize pool, mate. There's 40 spots paid out.
So
That's healthy.
1 in 10 then, basically, right?
It was like 250 last night. So I don't know how many entries are proper trying and how many of them are just, oh, I can fit a team out and I'll just have a shot, you know.
How many, what's the requirement? Sorry, is it 2 Leon players?
I think it's 1, mate. Maybe 2.
Is it?
Yeah, 2.
2, okay. I was going to say I would have liked to play I would have played my Churky in there maybe, and if I had another Leon card. Okay. That's interesting. Yeah, that's a decent little distribution, I guess, in terms of users to
40 cards,
to rewards.
40 spots, that's quality,
It's not bad.
It's at the end of the month, so there's enough time to plan for it if you were going to go to it. It's VIP, so you would. I'd much rather go to VIP in Monaco rather than in Leon or Monaco. I'd rather go VIP Monaco, please. That'll be where I'll go.
Yeah. 100%.
But the rest of the leaderboards, again, limited is just so congested. It's hard to read head counts and strength and quality of teams and cards potentially, isn't it? It is only really the rare competitions where you can start to get that sense of, oh, there might be an opportunity in this division if you don't have the reliance on Bayern being smashers or some of the other teams that we spoke about so far in the stream.
100%. No, it's an interesting week, mate. Honestly, I'm not I'm not even too normally I'm really worked up with my lineups and stuff in terms of I need to make the right decision and stuff. But this week I just feel like, you know what? It just feels like a free hit in a weird way. I don't.
Midweeks.
Yeah, that for me though. Yeah, because for me, I get a lot of my success midweek. Yeah, so I'm more looking forward to next midweek because I'm ready for that already. I have my lineup ready for that. And this week, I've only got 2 main lineups going out. And I'm trying to think, even right now, I'm 40 minutes out, and I'm like, I know I want to play in the 23 Rare Pro. We can.
Who's your teams?
Yeah. I can get on. Let me get my Sorare screen up.
We can see what you're running, Harry. You've got some fun headaches.
Yeah, I don't know. It's an interesting one. Like I said, I got 2 playing goalkeepers, so I've got Costa and Brady. Basically, if we're assuming Bazunu's still not number 1 for now. So yeah, Costa has the better fixture, even though Costa will probably end up conceding 90th minute. I still want to prioritize under 23 Rare Pro. So I'm looking for 2 good super rares. I need to get 2 in here somewhere to give myself the best chance of, competing. And yeah, it's slim pickings a little bit. This Balky guy actually smashed last week. He got a 40 AA, but they are playing Besiktas. But it's a home, so I do fancy him to do pretty well. So he's quite high up in my my regards. Piton killed me last week, so he's out of my thinking. Quest is back from injury, so he's definitely an option. Couple of midfielders. Florentino smashed last week, but Play Sharper completely killed me, Quinny. They told me that he was not going to play, and he ended up getting a 50 AA. And now I'm in the same predicament this week where Play Sharper says he's 20% or whatever it is. And I'm like, hang on a minute. He can't be that low. And then I spoke to a couple of friends and Sorare Portugals or whatever, and they seem to think he's way more nailed on than what Play Sharper's saying. So I don't know what to think about that. Whether I need to take that risk or not. But I've got Varela in there, but they play River. We haven't spoken about that, but it's River Boca this week, Quinny.
Let's go and look at a predicted 11 for that, yeah.
Yeah, which is massive. Another one we didn't mention, which is your neck of the woods, Motherwell at home to Killy. I know we'll speak about Boca, but I'm really favouring that Motherwell fixture. I've got my Callum Slattery super rare ready to unleash. But yeah, if you want to go to the Boca game, and
if anyone is going to catch it,
yeah.
So your boy isn't he has nailed on to start. I've just seen Frank Frabra in there in midfield. That caught my eye. But yeah.
So he's coming back from injury. He hasn't played recently. That's why Barco's been playing. And it looks Barco's basically going to the under-20 World Cup in a couple of days. So this will probably be his last game, I suspect, before he leaves, and then Fabra will sort of come back in. But yeah, I don't know what to think about this sort of game. I have Boca cards. I don't really have any River cards, and I don't know. I don't really fancy playing them if I'm being honest.
Yeah, it feels like a game full of yellows and red cards, like personally.
Yeah,
Like it's not
100%.
a free-flowing football derby. Normally it is like blood and guts and all that,
Yeah, I've got a funny feeling that Slattery's gonna have a wicked game against Killy. I really do fancy it, and like I don't think I've ever played Slattery in an under 23 rare pro lineup. He's never been that high up in my rankings, and he's been in and out of the team recently. So, but I've got a feeling. I've just got a really good feeling about it this week. My forwards are a little bit.
He's on to start slightly 70%.
Yeah, 70%. I'm kind of okay with that. It's basically Cherky or Jesus Ferreira. I think I'm going to go with Jesus because Cherky didn't make last week.
DNP? Yeah,
So
why did he DNP?
I watched the game. Basically, they went 2-1 up. Kakare scored to go 2-1 up, and they were 1-0 down. And I don't know, Cherky was like warming up and stuff, and I thought he was going to get a couple of minutes because I needed him for capped, like just to get off the bench. He didn't even get a minute, Quinny. It was really strange. And then Uwa came on before him. Uwa haven't played for like 10 years for Lyon. It was a really weird situation. Uwa is out injured this week, I believe. Oh, there he is. He's sick. So he's not even, on the bench or whatever. But it was really weird, mate. Cherky did not get a minute. I guess, they were trying to close the game out. They didn't want to go and get another goal. They were 2-1 up. I kind of get it from a tactical perspective, but like not to even give him a minute just felt really weird for me.
So 70% back in.
Yeah, but he was 90% last week. So you know what I'm saying? You can't, you have to take all this with a pinch of salt at the end of the day. And I'm gonna play him somewhere, but I'm not playing him over Jesus Ferreira at home to St. Louis. That just makes no sense for me.
Fair.
Like there's just no point taking that risk.
Did you think that's a good game for Dallas?
I mean, it's better than them being away. We with the MLS with the distances traveling, is that like I don't know. It's not a great game. St. Louis have been good this season, but they've had a couple of dodgy results recently. So I think Dallas could catch them at a good time. But Velasco's not been playing recently, so Dallas haven't been full strength, and Ferreira's been a bit hot and cold as well. So we'll see how that one plans out. But then it's kind of just who am I going to pick for my other super basically, and I think this Balky guy is kind of high in my my pecking order. Or I go with some sort of other midfielder, whether that's Florentino, which is a risk, Varela away to River, I don't love. There's just not really too much Aguirre. They're away to Tigre. I don't love that. Matson's got a good fixture. They play Heerenveen at home, but he's let me down a lot recently as well. So I don't know whether he deserves a shot at things, but I guess he probably does if we're thinking about matchups. That's probably a better matchup than this Balky fella at home to Besiktas, because Besiktas are a very good side. So then it comes down to what rare card do I play here? Is it Timber at home to AZ, Quinny? Is it Fofana away to Bournemouth?
Bella Kotchap against Forest.
He's at 60%. He's hot and cold in terms of fitness. I don't know if I can risk him, to be honest. Mickey says Florentino against Braga, go for it. A lot to clean up. I agree, Mickey, but I'm a little bit I don't know. I'm worried. I can't lie. I'm a little bit worried. Heerenveen shipping 3 every game, every minute. Jack, I love to hear that. That's music to my ears. So I probably end up having to probably risk Matson in that sense. Fofana or Timber, Quinny, is honestly my contemplation. I know the Bella Kotchap one's interesting, and I do love him, but I just don't know if I need to take that risk, if that makes sense. AZ and no mug. Well, we know how good AZ are, but I don't know. I think Fofana personally. I know Chelsea have been dire, Quinny. I know they have, but he seems to be the one right now that's just like stepping up a little bit. I know he's not able to do it on his own as a one defender. It doesn't matter how good you are. You need your whole back four to be biting at the
picking Timber here. I think the safest known quantity of them all. He's at home. Ajax need to keep pressure on the top of the table. AZ are more likely to take their eye off this fixture than Ajax will be.
It's a tough game though.
Tough game.
But Ajax ain't Ajax, Quinny, anymore. I'm sorry to say it, but they're just not.
Aye, but it's a big player in a big game. They need it. Fofana is away from home. Bournemouth could get 3 against Chelsea, mate, and you're Donald Ducked.
If that happens, then
he'll play.
I don't know. Okay, maybe we'll go with Timber then.
Chelsea had a basket case, mate. No, Frank Lampard.
Yeah, we'll captain Jesus. We'll go with Timber, and then. My contemplation is, Quinny, do I go under 23 rare and play Brady in there, or do I just play Brady in the cap mode and aim for the cap. I'm not set on either. Let me show you what I could do for under 23 rare first. So let's just say this is something. We'll put Enzo in there. We'll put Cherky in there, and then we'll play probably Tajani. Like that's my under 23 rare lineup, which is a good lineup. Really,
Okay.
It's okay. Yeah. It's not unbelievable. Or we just go hunting for cap and just try and win the cap, Quinny. What do you think?
Yeah, we'll see how you can fit a 240 with Brady, because that's...
Well, he's only 43 points, so he's not... Yeah, he's not too excessive. It probably ends up being Fofana, if we can afford him. It then probably ends up being... Well, let me get my...
Pomical.
I think...
What do you say? 48.
Pomical or Utkin's back from injury, and he's only 44. Yeah, and he had a really good AA game after he come off the bench basically like 19th minute last game unexpectedly and got like 20 AA. So, and then they're home to Fackle, who I think could be the play. Can we fit Cherky in? Let's see, and then we've got 45 left. But Quinny, the chat are telling me what's his name's not having Blank's not interested in Cherky. Is that confirmed? So whoever, Holland. Ajax is a big mess, ATM. See, people are telling me not to gamble on Timber, Quinny. I'm telling you, it's a weird one, this Timber one. I'm telling you. I think we think it's the Timber of the old, but it's not. It's not the Timber of the old, Quinny.
No, but the way I look at it, let's go and look at it. The way
I worry about it. I'm going to change it, Quinny. Honestly, I'm not confident. I need to put Fofana in there for my sanity's sake. I'm just can't do it, lads. I really can't do it to myself.
I don't know if that's a game to be feared of, to be honest.
AZ, it doesn't really get much. I don't know. I don't like it. Charlie says Belichick was interesting.
This is a must-win. They've played 30 games. How many games will there be? 34. Right, so they've got 4 games left. They need to get second because now they're third, which is Europa League, not Champions League. So Ajax need to get into second. That's the way they're thinking about this.
But so do AZ.
Alkmaar are in 4th, right? They're not going to... Alkmaar are not thinking about catching second. Maybe they could catch third, but they're still got Europa League and stuff to do. So let's have a look. Where are they at? West Ham, after this. Then they've got Emmen, who are a pushover. They've got PSV towards the end. So they've got 2 6-pointers, So, again, with Alkmaar, PSV last game of the season. Ajax, again, further motivation to try and win this game, I think. So... I think
I get it. I get it. Stuff, but I don't think this translates to Timber's score, Quinny, is what I'm getting at. Whatever you're saying right now is completely 1,000,000% true. But unfortunately, I think they're mutually exclusive. What you're saying there to me will not translate through to Timber scores, in my opinion. That is just how I look at it.
Okay, fair enough.
That's all. That's the only way I can in my head. View it. Sam says in the chat, Harry, pick up this guy for 0.1 job done. Niels and Cuckoo. Niels and Cuckoo was at Cardiff last year, and he was the worst football player on this earth. And somehow this season he's turned into an absolute world beater. Peel says no Carlson, no Pavlidis. I'm skeptic on AZ this week. To play for Fana. Yeah, I'm going for Fana. I really, really am. I can't stop myself. It's done, Quinny. But I'm going to see what I can fit into. I might have to fit Timber into Cap 240 anyway. So he probably gets the nod somewhere. So we'll go Brady, Timber. We'll throw Utkin in there. What are we saying, lads? Are we saying, is it Cherky or Kulusevski?
Cherky. Screw Tottenham, man. They're dying.
I know. They are dead, aren't they? Okay, 43 points. What can I fit into this, Quinny? I could go Kulu as well.
Oh, brilliant.
Shall I do it?
Or Mangala, or who else is down there?
He's 50%. Nah, we're not. He won't play, I don't think, Bushani. Reigns might get a couple minutes. It's basically Kulu or Mangala, but I'm edging Kulu.
Is Kulusevski going to start? Because that's a no-brainer if he is.
It's not guaranteed. No, I can't. But then in my head, neither's Cherky, if I'm being honest. But I need to play one of them, so it doesn't really.
50% on or Richarlison.
So Richarlison obviously scored against Liverpool last week, didn't he? But he came off the bench to do so. I don't know. It's an interesting one. I really interesting. I don't know it.
I'd go Kulusevski in that team. That sounds like a decent enough effort at it. Because he won't DNP on you.
Yeah,
And like,
you'll do something. It's just what that something is. David says, just to be wary, Harry, Lampard has said Badiashile is very close to starting. So I think he could start instead of Fofana, and it'll be Silva and Baddy just out in the press conference. Well, that changes things, doesn't it, Quinny?
told you, mate, don't take any of these jailbait picks. Get the guy that's solid.
Okay, maybe I'm
He will
swaying back.
play. It's a
If
big
that's what
game. They're at
Lampard
home,
said.
you know.
Okay, well, if Lampard said that, then that does worry me. So I will have to revert my decision, Quinny, and go with what you said. I'll eat my words. But no, things have changed. That's
At least
my
you feel
excuse.
good about it. At least you feel.
I feel a bit better about it. Yeah, if that's what's been said, and I don't know. I'm surprised Lampard actually said that. I'm trying to find Lampard's thing, but like he never normally like gives too much away in terms of like names, if that makes sense.
He's right under pressure now, but
He is. But like, is Badia Shield the answer to all that? Probably not. But I'm not saying he's a bad player. Okay, we'll throw Timber in there, and we'll go with that. 2 super mids, and then we need to go back and just set up this cap to 40 lineup a bit better. So,
Bellingham.
should we do it? Fuck it, we'll do it.
Yeah.
We'll do it. We'll do it for you, Quinny. Butkin. This gives us 41 now, which means we basically have to go with Mangala, who is 50%.
Anyone cheaper than Bellingham?
We could go Dedic, but he seems to fuck me every week. Sorry for the language.
Someone in the live chat said Dedic is your man, so I think that's
that's Jonathan, and he's taking the piss. Because Jonathan told me to buy him, and he's never played since the international break. He's not scored above 35, and that's no exaggeration.
Well, this is the week it's going to happen then, Harry. And then you can get Kulusevski in as well. Is that not the play? Or do you get somebody better in because he's cheaper than what Fofana was?
Say that again, sorry.
Is he definitely going to play for Salzburg? Because that's not a bad starting point.
He is, yeah. He's definitely going to play, yeah.
Aye, and then we get more points. We get 50 points now. So.
Yeah, now I can go Paxton. Should we go Paxton? We'll get Paxton in there.
Yeah.
It's either Paxton or Bouchaury, basically.
That feels good.
Or we sack Turkey off and have 61 points and go Reinders.
Ooh.
Or Enzo.
I think Enzo's worth a pick.
Probably is, isn't it?
Kulusevski over Cherky, that's a coin toss. That's fine to save the points.
I'm not worried about that. Yeah, I'm not too worried about keeping Cherky out in a weird way. But what's David? I completely, take what you said.
Making sure reckons that'll be a card fest with the Salzburg game.
Okay, interesting. Never hard game against Rapid. Enzo. Noosa says Enzo. Yeah. David says that's the link Harry specifically brings up Badiashile. Fair play. No, I definitely believe you. Was anything said about Enzo? If not, we'll throw Enzo in there and just call it a day, I think.
Yeah, looks good.
Should we do that?
Definitely playing. That's half the battle with that mode.
Yeah, for sure. And if I win my cap this week, you know what? I'll probably take it. As long as I have a little sweat in under 23 Red Pro, Quinny, I can die a happy man. And then I am going to throw in a cap 240 lineup, super rare, but just with a DMP goalkeeper. So basically, we're going to go Balky. We're going to go... Basically, I bought this Kai Progger guy, and he scored last game week, and they have a massive game, Hansa Rostock, against Regenburg.
Yep.
And they need to win. It's like 17th versus 18th.
Oof.
And it's massive. So he's basically going to be playing for me. We'll throw Suslov in there. I need players who are going to score 62, basically, Quinny. Who's going to score 62 out of those three? Luis, Varela, and Kai Progger. Kai Progger plays up front, by the way, but he's a midfielder card. Just to...
I would take Florentino.
Would you? You'd risk it. Okay. We'll go Flo. And then do you want to... should we do Badiashile or this Progger guy?
I'd take Badiashile.
Would you?
If you reckon he's playing now, yeah.
Well, that's... Yeah.
You've got my estimations, by the way, because he'll need to be mad busy. And Bournemouth at home will always attack, and they're
I agree.
So this is based in the league. They're basically both on 38 points, 39 points, or whatever, just above the relegation zone in mid-table.
No, I agree, 100%. Mickey Baston says Harry lies. Dedic has had 47 and 50 since the international break. Harry just said, I don't hate Dedic, but I do expect, like, I was expecting a few more decisives and stuff, and I've just not been given it from that sort of right back position for Salzburg. Yep. And yeah, maybe that's kind of what's dampened my view on him. But yeah, okay, we'll go with this. And then we'll throw in, we just have to throw in Toblason. And that's basically the extent of my week, Quinny. I'll do my training lineups off air. Do you want to show us show us what you're rocking?
So I've got my big team going out.
Ooh, okay.
Kobayashi's in, Rio's in. I went with the forward card because, like, I don't think a clean sheet is a guarantee this week, you know. So out of the Rio defender or forwards, I've got the luxury of having the choice. I'll go with the forwards, and I don't need to worry about goals conceded or possession lost. Yeah. So that's a nice alternative to have this week. So yeah, feeling good, pretty good about that. Cap 240, my boy Illich banged out 2 big scores in the bounce. He scored against Lazio, dropped in a 70 odd, got an assist in the midweek against Monza or something, or Sampdoria. He's playing Monza this week, so he's in good form. John McGinn, Scales, as we mentioned, with a wonder goal. Maeda should play against Hearts, and Marshall's a keeper. Let's go and get another threshold in. But again, if everyone bangs, you know, should do well. So, in good form. But I think this is probably the strongest D3 team I've played in a long time.
Ooh.
We've got full Celtic, top to bottom, super rare, double super rare defender, which is the sweatiest play on Sorare.
It really is
something that I've never done in my life, but I'll be doing it this week because the situation I'm in and the players I can pick, you know.
Yeah.
So I'm going double sweaty, which is the super rare defender combo with O'Reilly and Jota, who are the most 70 plus capable players with 1 decisive in the team. And yeah, let's just hope Joe Hart doesn't get an early to go or something. And I think this could be a winner. Like, this could be
a really nice lineup, mate. Really nice.
Yeah, so buzzing about that. All-Star Rare, it's kind of similar themed, but I've not got enough Celtic cards to go around. But I'm going Celtic attack stack with Kyogo and Rio again. Big Ladero in midfield, as we mentioned, Guerrero at the back, Sean Johnson. So again, all at home, except the spine of the team's at home, with the Celtic strikers up front, which is cool. 240 is a bit of a Celtic NYC loving again. So we've got Celtic in defence and attack, and NYC in midfield with Marshall and goals. So that's quite a fun team. Hopefully that does the business. But under 23 rare, Harry, I am going for it. I'm going for the top again. I think I'm going to get a good night out of Wirtz. Guardiola should play. Tanny should play. The NYC boys should play. You know, they're not all necessarily going to smash, but I think for a rare lineup, like, they could all break 70s. If Tanny was to get a clean sheet, he'd probably do 100 the way his games go.
Yeah. Good lineup, mate. It is. I mean, yeah, I don't, obviously, I'm just sold my Tanny for whatever reason, but the front four there, or, the outfield four, very good. Let's just hope Tanny doesn't Tanny, if that makes sense.
Yeah, for sure. So fingers crossed we get a wee wonder kid. And then with my, and I hate saying this, but with the leftover pieces I had, this was the best team I could formulate, which I thought was pretty good entry for an America D3,
Not bad at all.
Yeah, I think that's pretty decent, Baraza has been killing AA with a clean sheet or without, by the way. Kufri should be back in the team. Leget's decisive, capable. Of course, so is Russell and Gold. And the prize pool, 33 cards is pretty crap. It probably puts a lot of people off. There's only 500 entrants. I'm hoping, maybe my team, maybe I could prize pretty well with like 390 points or something. Or, that's kind of what I'm thinking with that team. And Road to Glory, we've got Kaufman and Carl Sewer. We've looked at that team earlier. He's going to be in. Rio's in. Was is in. People are telling me in the chat, Ferro's back into play. And Etienne Vassen's got a fixture. So we couldn't fit this into any cap mode. And I thought, for Road to Glory, let's just go for the world. Let's versus the world. Let's go all-star. Play all the best guys, and let's just try and run at the top 300 or wherever the prizes start getting exciting anyway. Yeah, top 400, tier 2s. So let's get into the top 400 with this, and we'll have a good giveaway card, hopefully. Common teams, I made a wee video about them. I wouldn't even mention them. And then I threw some throwaway teams. These are all 4-man efforts, 4-man lineups at the bottom here. You never know. Glorified training teams, eh? But a lot of high hopes for the weekend. Guerrero was doubtful, probably 50-50. Well, I had play sharper say it was like 70%. And I've had this before, Lucas. So don't toy with me here. And Jonathan Tanny's never keeping a clean sheet yet. It's a tough game. It's very unlikely. You think Skorupski's a better pick than Marshall, says Charlie Dunbar. Yeah, I think Skorupski is away to Sassuolo. And Skrupski's been in great form. Berardi looks to be back in that team. Sassuolo are no mugs, quite dangerous if anything, but he's a good AA-based goalkeeper. I don't think they'll concede 3. But I think for this game, like, Scottish football is just fucking crazy sometimes. Like, that game could be 5 each or something, you know. St Mirren are one of the better teams in the league, in my opinion. And Hibs, like, Marshall had a horrible time recently, so I'm going to go with, or maybe I should, you're putting a bit of doubt into my mind now. But I don't know. I think Tony's goal was good for a goal, even though he's not been scoring in the last 5 or something. But yeah, I think St Mirren have got good players, and I'd rather not pick Marshall. I'd rather take Skorupski, I think, for those ones. But yeah, I'm quite buzzing for it. We've only got a couple of minutes to the deadline, Harry boy. We're not far away from it at all. I think like 15 minutes, 13, you know. So I think all the teams will be just about in. The prize pools are almost just about set. And yeah.
I'm just looking now. Costa doesn't play till Monday. Ugh.
Oh, yeah.
That's a while to wait, isn't it?
It's also seeing, exactly where your guy's playing, and like, is there a Friday curse to watch out for? But I think Leverkusen will be good for it tonight. I think Leverkusen will be a good Friday night game. Oh, so many of my guys, Harry, play on Sunday.
Okay.
Like, everything plays on Sunday for me, basically.
Yeah, that is interesting. It's absolutely smashing down outside, by the way. I
can just start to hear a little bit of it there. I'm like,
it's torrential rain. Like, literally incredible. Like, honestly incredible. Wow.
I'm a bit worried that Skrupski plays on the Monday now. That's giving me a bit of the fear.
The Monday night fear.
Like, I don't want a goalkeeper. I don't want to be waiting on a goalkeeper going into Monday, but I'm not changing my team on the basis of voodoo and superstition in that. Christie SR home to Chelsea or McGinn away to Wolves, says Hendo. I would probably take McGinn away to Wolves, but Christie, I think he's on to start, and that Chelsea team, like, they will probably, I think they'll concede. I think Bournemouth can score at home in that fixture. They'll be feeling quite good about themselves, getting themselves out of relegation. They're unofficially clear of it. Yeah, I think he starts, and if this is the team, like, they could score a goal or two, and that means Christie's getting a decisive, probably, maybe, hopefully. So it's a tough one. I think McGinn's a bit more nailed for a solid score. McGinn won't let you down. Christie might get a BCM, might not start. Might not have much AA, but I would probably go McGinn. Jack Doyle is all Saturday and all Sunday for everything else. But yeah, go with McGinn. Tackles in a derby. Yeah, it's a derby. What if it been a derby match? The first thing I think about is a booking. But yeah, derby match, big game, big player. We like to see them showing up when they arrive. So I can get behind McGinn. I actually forgot about the whole derby connotations with Wolves and Villa when I was picking them. But no, I think McGinn over Christie's probably where I would go. Aye.
Trying to do all my training lineups and stuff. Yeah. Interesting week to come.
For sure. Yeah, I think I'm planning, obviously, I'll be watching Celtic on Sunday when the game's on. I don't think I'll be planning on watching any football tomorrow, but I'm quite excited about seeing Leverkusen and Wirtz tonight. Maybe get the weekend off to a flyer with a big score. We've also got the goalkeeper for Road to Glory playing, so should be a good one. There's a lot of live games on. There's a lot of good football on the TV this weekend as well. I think it is all quite Sunday-centric, but so whatever you are catching. Because, Harry, I was looking at it as well. See, if you look at the Serie A fixtures, it is like the top 8 teams are all playing against each other. Like both Milan teams, Juve, Roma, Fiorentina, Atalanta, Lazio, like all Napoli, all these clubs are all playing each other. Like they're not playing anyone else, you know. So if you look at the Serie A fixtures, we'll probably see a lot of Serie A on the telly this week with no La Liga as well. And France, what did we have? We had Monaco with a rubbish game, PSG with a rubbish game, for television. So yeah, Italy might be a decent wee watch this week, Harry, if you're a neutral for after a game. It'll be 2 teams fighting each other properly.
Massive night last night, wasn't there, for Napoli?
Oh yeah, huge, man. Do you see all the videos? My missus was telling me they were fake. She's like, those videos aren't real. I'm like, they're real.
Yeah, they're definitely got to be real, haven't they? Surely.
Aye.
Yeah, they were incredible, weren't they? Jesus. What a night.
I'm looking forward to it. I think I've got tickets for the final game of the season, like wrapped up like a few months ago. I'm always hesitant to talk about it because I'm not sure. I'm waiting for the email to say here's your tickets before I, go ham
Go
hock on it.
crazy.
But I am scheduled. I am scheduled to be in Napoli for Napoli Sampdoria last game of the season when they get the Scudetto. So I'm looking forward to some of that.
What date is that, Quinny? Sorry.
It's like the 2nd of June or something.
Okay. Yeah,
It's the last week. It's the first weekend of June, but it's still like the last weekend of the season. I'm not even sure when Champions League final is. It must be the week after that. Then maybe it's normally like a week, and then we get
late May, isn't it? I don't know if it'd be different this year, but
no, the season finishes a little bit later this year because of the World Cup lead.
Yeah, of course.
So we normally get like Europa League. Well, we normally got. How did it go last year with the Conference League? Was it one day before Europa League? Because Europa League is normally a couple of days before Champions League. Like normally, I think Europa League final can be like a Wednesday, and then Champions League's on a Saturday or something like that. I might be wrong, but I think that's kind of. I can't remember how the schedule went for the finals last year.
Yeah, they're pretty close, aren't they? In terms of back. I mean, I don't know if they're back to back, but they're definitely very, very close.
Yeah. They must share a game week, thinking about it, eh?
Oh, yeah, good point. Yeah, they probably do, right?
Ian Sorare is saying, if you don't watch Queen's Park versus Dundee tonight, do you even like football? I guess that's going to be on BBC Alba or something. So that's the Championship playoff. We want to see all the football fans, all the football hipsters around the world or whatever, will probably want to see Queen's Park win this one because they're a very old historic club. They've just went from amateur to professional over the last few years, and you'll see a lot of people, I'm sure, talking about them and all that stuff if and when they get promoted because it's a good story. And they're like Owen Hampden, but they don't own Hampden, or they do own Hampden. It's a funny one. I don't really know the full story behind it all, but yeah. So that'll be good. What day is that on? Sorry, was that even in the post there? He didn't say, but we'll find out. You can find out yourself. But excuse me.
Just getting my me training lineups in. All my La Liga boys in a training lineup. Nice to see.
Okay. Get them all farmed away. Anyone as well? I've not put training in. Let me do training. Crap. How many minutes?
We got 7 minutes. We got time.
Oh, good. Okay. Because I did not even think about training this week to this point. I sorted. I'm quite looking forward to the weekend. I think having not won anything in a few weeks, I'm definitely due a wee bit of that karma, that Sorare karma, where all my guys score goals, they don't miss chances, or that kind of thing comes my way this week.
Yeah, it normally takes a turn, doesn't it? Hopefully, it takes a turn in a positive way for you in terms of decisives and stuff. Definitely, what we want to see, isn't it?
If you were going to try and predict who's going to let you down, Harry, who would you go for?
Enzo in capped. I don't know why. I've got a weird feeling. Weird feeling.
Enzo.
Yeah, I don't know. Just got
I was
weird.
expecting that.
Enzo and Timber is the obvious one, just because I have a vendetta against him.
Yeah, fair enough.
But I really hope he doesn't. What about you?
I think it'll just be Celtic or how that game goes. If maybe my guys don't get the goals, maybe all the goals come from one of the players I've not got in a team linked with the other players or something,
Yeah.
So it's just more a wee bit of that combo headache that I'm worried about more than I think we'll probably still win and all the rest of it. But yeah, I think it's combos is more the headache, I think, rather than the players themselves, because I'm kind of playing them all, So
Yeah.
I should get
Someone
them.
has to do something, yeah.
Which is where are they and who they're playing with is probably my main worry. So yeah, I think maybe Maeda's a bit of a worry for me because although he's nailed on to start, we all kind of know that he's not really that effectual against two banks of four. He needs some sort of space to play in. And so yeah, with the game, I don't think the manager will rotate him for this game, but it's not completely impossible. Which is why I put Maeda in my cap mode, because even if he is on the bench, he'll come off the bench, and for cap mode that might still be useful. Whereas an all-star team, that's right off material,
Yeah.
So it's just maybe a wee bit. I don't know if it's quite an educated guess or how you would really term it, but it's a wee bit more maybe damage limitation. Like if that was to happen, hopefully it doesn't throw me down for the week and totally kill me altogether. basically.
That makes sense. Definitely makes sense. Yeah. What day do Celtic play? Sorry, Saturday.
Sunday.
Okay. Okay. Yeah, interesting to see how that plans out for sure.
And
4 minutes. 4 minutes to the deadline.
Brenner, for me personally, see him coming off the bench but couldn't leave him out, says Joe Ducey, the guy that you know is going to break your heart. Don't say that. I've got Enzo as under 23 captain, says Jonathan. Raul is in for an 80 on Enzo. And there's some chat going on back here. I think can't wait for tomorrow. Yeah, some Queen's Park chat going on there. Hendo's getting me up to speed with my Scottish football history with the ownership at Hampden. So thanks a lot, Hendo. I'll put that on screen so anyone can be corrected for my misinformation earlier. Sorted. But yeah, I'm looking forward to it, Harry Boy. I managed to get a lot of stuff done this week. It's been a really busy one. Tons of Celtic stuff out across here, there, and everywhere. Podcasts and live streams and everything and anything. And now when we get to the deadline stream, it does feel like it's like the weekend begins now. It's like, all the stuff for the week's done. It's just all about football time now, isn't it? And then wee bit of for me tonight, hopefully. Or not hopefully, it will be. It's just matter getting it done.
Yeah, 100%. I'm just checking here. Bella Kotchap's fixture, so that Southampton game's on Monday as well. So I've got quite a few little Monday situations this week, which is not. Zaidu plays Monday, Aguirre plays Monday. That's crazy. Lots of Mondays.
Wonder why that is. There's definitely not a lot of Saturday football.
Yeah, I don't know. I've got a big game in my real life tomorrow, Quinny.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, if we win tomorrow, we'll get promoted to the Welsh League, which will be good.
Love it.
We need 3 points from 6. 6 points, if that makes sense, not 6 games. We've got a big one tomorrow, but it's absolutely belting down and it potentially might get called off. I don't know. Maybe. We'll see.
Would you want it called off? Is it better for you to have the game postponed? Well, that means someone else comes back from fitness or...
Yeah, me. I played 90 minutes Wednesday and my legs... I did 10.7k. I am absolutely in bits. And I wouldn't really want it to be postponed, to be honest. Because we have a cup final in a couple of weeks as well. So I don't know. I prefer it not to be called off, if I'm being honest. Do you get good AA in real life, Harry? Silly question, Yusa. Come on. Come on.
Harry loves a jewel on the pace.
Is water wet? Could argue no. You could argue no there. No, I don't know. Yeah, no, I do. I play a bit deeper recently. So, I am getting more duels and interceptions than I'd probably normally would playing higher up the field. But, I don't know. It'd be interesting to see what my AA would be. Maybe I'll get some sort of video out at some point to calculate that. Sam said we need a video soon. Yeah, you'll get it, Sam. You'll definitely get it very soon, actually, hopefully.
Nice.
Yeah, we actually film our games and stuff, which is pretty cool. And we get GPS data and whatever, so it's pretty cool. Jonathan, I want Harry and Larry Laird in my Sorare team. He'll have extensive amount of under 23 eligibility. I, on the other hand, won't. My birthday Sunday. I'm getting old now. Getting very old. So my eligibility's up. 2 years up basically now, actually. Or will be 2 years. I'm excited for it. Is that the weekend confirmed? Yes. Apparently. Yeah, we're locked in, Quinny. We're done.
Now, do you know one thing I sometimes think, obviously, Harry, me and when we finish the stream, we just sit and kind of blather and talk some gibberish and that, and maybe have a wee look into the new game week. It's just opened. To finish this one off, right, there's 100 of you legends here, right? Thanks very much to everyone that's joined the stream. Only 36 of you criminals, 37, have actually liked the stream, but so I'm going to hit the advert button now. And before you leave, you better like the stream. But me and Harry are going to sit. I don't know about you, Harry, but I'm going to chill out for a second.
Yeah, let's do it.
And have a look at the new game week that's just opened up. So thanks very much to everyone that's enjoyed the stream. Fist bumps to you. You're a criminal if you have not liked the stream already. So don't do us dirty like that already. And thanks very much. And this, so this midweek, I think, did I have nobody in the lineup builder, or did I have somebody?
I can't remember. To be fair.
So let's see, what games do we have exactly? So Champions League, Real City, Milan, Derby, what everyone's really after. A wee bit of Chilean football. Liga MX is on. Wee bit of J League.
Yeah, there's a couple of K leagues, couple of J leagues. Obviously Europa, bit of Copa Libertadores, Brazilian League, or maybe Copa Libertadores, one of the two. Yeah, Brazilian League. Yeah, I made a purchase yesterday, actually, Quinny, in preparation for the upcoming game. Yeah, just a midfielder. He plays for
Juve, Sevilla, Roma, Leverkusen.
Who does he play for? Let me get you my screen if you want to have a quick look. His name's Hercules. He's 22. He plays for Fortaleza.
Nice.
In the Brazilian League. And yeah, he's 22. Yeah. He looks a good player, to be fair. He scored really well last game. His AA is pretty decent normally, but he seems to get involved in goals and assists now and again as well, is kind of the hope. And this is the team I'd be rocking midweek. Obviously, I'd like to get 2 supers in there, but this is kind of, unless I just drop Pete on and bring in another rare defender to kind of just go under 23 rare. But this is kind of the best I can do. For midweek, where there won't be, literally, I think there's one goal. Well, actually, I lie. I think there's one other K-League goalkeeper that might play or should play. But yeah, basically, there's 2 K-League under 23 goalkeepers. Other than that, there is nobody else, I don't believe. So should have a good chance of Mr. Midweeking, hopefully.
Yeah, I've got no goalkeeper or defender for this midweek.
Yeah, goalkeepers are going to be tough this midweek, I think.
Yeah, so I've got Wirtz and Acevedo, and that's it. I've literally got nothing.
Yeah, Wirtz. Little loan deal for the Wirtz. Quinny wouldn't go amiss.
And Everaldo and Thiago Brady. Okay. Yeah. So I've got missing a goalkeeper and a defenders. I need a wee bit more Brazil. I've got a wee bit of Brazil going on now.
Yeah, you do. Everaldo, Thiago.
Yeah, a wee defender and a goalkeeper. And then I've got a wee rare. Brazil are on. I've got a team, maybe.
Yeah, maybe get a little Casio or who's the other the goalkeeper for my guy's team, Piton. Jardim. Leo Jardim.
Oh, yeah. Jardim looks very good, mate.
But there's only so many cards out of him, I think, isn't there? There's a limited supply. So yeah, but he would be ideal, very ideal.
Chase Nikolai is named the guy that seems to be the best bang for buck one that I can probably reasonably try and get in. The guy who plays at Fortaleza with your guy Hercules.
Okay.
So he's like 38 or something. Got a big beard like he's a barber or a butcher or something. But he's cheap as heck. He's 38 and he's 38. He's a goalkeeper. I kind of don't need to tell you any more than that, really. To understand my feelings and thoughts on it.
100%.
But yeah, so I don't think it was too much to look ahead to for my excitement for the midweek. But Mr. Midweek himself obviously looks to be reigning supreme again, going at it.
I'm more excited for that, mate, than this weekend, if I'm being completely honest. Just because there's less people to play against, and my chances obviously go up to try and win things. So
last week, Harry, I tried doing a little bit of a Sunday session stream, and I'm going to be doing that again this Sunday. So if you're hanging about Sunday, about 7:00 is when I'm planning on going live. We're just going to be swinging the door open. There's no plan. There's no agenda. We'll see who shows up, and we'll see what we get into. But otherwise, guys, enjoy the rest of your weekend. Good luck this game week. Harry boy, it's been an absolute pleasure.
Thank you, mate. Yeah, no, absolute pleasure. It's been a really thorough stream. I don't know why today it's gone not better than usual, but just
we almost didn't make teams.
We almost didn't make teams. But we got it over the line, deadline day, on brand. And yeah, no, it was great. Enjoyed it.
Excellent. Well, have a good one, guys. Take care.